Before we begin, I would like to thank the people that made it possible for us to have some of the guitars featured in today's video here. Even though they wish to remain unknown, they know who they are and we sincerely thank them. We would also like to thank Kai Sariko from Samailma for being so kind and responding to some of the questions we had regarding Alexi's guitars. Other than that, we received no assistance, sponsorship, or affiliation from any third parties, be it organizations, companies, or individuals, and therefore all opinions expressed herein are ours and ours alone. Also, the music played and presented within today's video is our own, and therefore it is the property of Water Interactive Music and cannot be used without Water Interactive Music's consent. It is music we originally composed, recorded, and produced ourselves. Thank you and enjoy. Hey Lucas, how you been, man? It's been a while since we've done this.
I've been good, and yes, it has been a minute.
Our first and only video was the Amp Tweaker.
Yes.
And if you haven't watched that, please go watch it and then come back and watch the rest of this video. If you have watched it and you've been wondering what the hell have we been up to all this time, well, we've been busy. And today we have a big one for you. As you can see, we have a tribute for the man, the legend, rest in peace, Alexi Laiho, and of course, Children of Bodom. Of course, you're probably wondering what kind of tribute we have, and most likely you're guessing that it's cover songs, but there's a lot of those out there, and they're really good. So no, it's not that. We're using a different, hopefully more original approach to it. We have composed original music in the style of Children of Bodom, using the same gear Children of Bodom would use most of the time: guitars, amps, signal chains, keyboard sounds, bass, signals, whatever, everything. Lyrical styles, you name it. But that's not all we got. What else do we have?
We have some memorabilia to go over from back in the when Children of Bodom was still touring. And part of the gear is also the guitars. We have just a few of them.
Just a few, yeah.
Just a few of them, which we'll compare. We'll talk about their differences. We'll go over some information on them. And it's gonna be fun. And
considerably lengthy, probably.
Yeah, just a few guitars.
Just a few guitars, so just a little bit longer than what you would expect. So yeah. I guess we better get to it.
Hell yeah.
All right, so moving on with the memorabilia. What do we have, Lucas?
Well, I guess we can start out with this over here. So, yeah, here, check it out. It's tell me what that is.
That is a Jim Dunlop USA Jazz 3 pick, and I wonder who played those.
Yeah. So that was back
So what's the story behind it?
Yeah, that was back in 2019 when I finally got to see them, sadly for the last time, the first and last time. Yeah. So first and only time I was able to see them. And yeah, this was actually played by the man himself. And yeah, I caught this at the show and I was very happy. It was not a marked pick. It doesn't say Children of Bodom. It doesn't have the Alexi signature or anything. But he was known for playing Jazz 3 picks.
Yeah, absolutely. So, there's interviews online where he actually states how he likes them because the pick attack feels better. It's easier to get pinch harmonics with.
Yeah, it's very fast picking. I'm not. I mean, I can definitely play with these. They're not my first choice, but I mean, I like them too. Even though I tend to go with something else, but they're like really cool. It's really cool that I was able to pick it. Sure, it's not marked or anything, but I was able to snag it. And
speaking of that, though, have you actually played with this one? Even once, at least.
Maybe a little bit.
Like secretly, you kind of went to the corner, kind of turn your back.
When I first got Greeny, I played a little bit with it because it just made sense. Yeah. But obviously, I don't want to play with that. I want to like relic that and store that for as long as possible. So, yeah.
He actually played that pick.
Yeah, he was actually no. He threw it. He was playing with it and he threw it at the crowd, and then so cool, I was able to get it.
That's so cool.
So I was very close.
What guitar was he playing?
I can't. That's a tough question now. It might have been the Hexed.
And that was the
2019.
first time you saw the Hex. I mean, that's about the time they actually launched it, right?
Yeah, they launched the Hexed for the 2019. The Hexed was the name of the tour, the album, the tour, and the guitar too. So he was playing Hexed. I think that night he played. He also played Greeny. He played a few guitars. I can't remember exactly what he was playing. It was kind of chaotic, you know.
Yeah.
Like, it's a Bodom show.
Of course.
But he might have been playing the Hex. I remember he was playing the Hex, not the Ripped, but live was the Hex for sure. And then he threw that. I was able to get it. It was 2019.
Nice.
It's been a few years now, but it was great.
Nice.
And then
What else do we have?
we can move on to this really cool laminate that it's an all access laminate for Bodom. This is for a show in Taipei in 2009.
2009. That was their peak, right?
Yeah, it doesn't have anything in the back, but it definitely looks legit. And I did not attend this concert. I wish I did. It would have been cool, but I did not attend this. A friend of mine gave me this, so
That's a really cool gift for someone to give.
Yeah, it is actually like real. You can tell. Like,
Yeah, no,
check it out.
absolutely. That's such an iconic, classic picture, and that's a word you'll hear a lot today.
It's been more than a few years, so it's a little rough around the edges. Plus, you know,
Yeah.
they actually use these during the tour, so
Yeah, absolutely.
it's normal. So that
Hey,
actually
that's
makes it
one
real.
of the few occasions where you see Alex actually having a bit of a beard, right? And Rupert not having one.
Oh yeah, well, more like the goatee actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's been a while. I wonder if that picture. I can't even tell the picture.
Yeah.
So
And then, what's the story here?
this is the same occasion in which I got the guitar pick.
2019. written
Yeah.
Here, right?
So this is a drum top that was autographed by the whole band.
And it actually looks played. Like at this angle that you're holding it right now, I can see this drum top has been abused.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah, Jaska was probably like hitting this as hard as he always hit. So it has the COBHC in the 2019. I got this from their merch stand from that same occasion. Like I said, it was the only Children of Bodom show I was ever able to attend. He passed not long after that, I guess just like barely a year after that, even less than a year after that show. So very sad, but very cool. I guess I knew it was going to be big. So I got this from the merch stand, and you know, I put it on this frame so I can try to preserve the signatures on it as much as possible.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, these are just like, you know, the memorabilia from when I was able to see them live. And I don't have the albums anymore. I think I did have some CDs from back in the day, but I always followed the band like super close. And this was the one opportunity I got to see them live. And then, yeah, I got lucky. I got a picture with Alexi as well. I caught him like at the end of the day, like at the end of that show, they all went to the bus, and then they all stepped down. I guess they went around town to try to get food or something. And when I got a picture with Yane, I got a picture with Henke and Daniel Freiberg and Alexi Laiho.
Damn,
And he didn't take many pictures that night. You know, it was only me and some other fan, and then he just walked away trying to get some food or whatever.
Of course.
You know, can't really blame him for not being like the most.
Yeah.
These guys are touring, you know, like they get work.
Plus, you
and-
know, it was at a point that,
yeah, sadly his health was not in the best shape when I got to see him. But yeah, and it was a very special night, so it was cool.
So that was your last memory of them. What was your first memory of them?
Oh, good one. Yeah, definitely Downfall,
Downfall.
the music video.
So how did you get introduced to it? Like, do you have a special moment you remember someone introducing you to them?
No, I think
what happened?
I can't remember now if it was either the internet or on MTV. I believe it was MTV or something like that. And I spotted the music video and I saw like green lights. I saw all of that, and from that moment on, I was like, oh, I like death metal now. I guess I mean, I already liked rock and metal and all that, but when I listened to that, I'm like, oh, death metal is cool. And I thought I didn't like death metal because I thought it was too harsh. But when I listened to that, I was like, no, that's cool. That's what I'm gonna go for. It's just really cool. And from there, I just checked the whole Hatebreed album, and the Green album, and then later I went back into the Blue album, Follow the Reaper. And then
as soon as you say Blue Album, I can't help it. What I think is Every Time I Die.
yeah, Every Time I Die. From that, yeah, that's a good album. And yeah, from there, like Bodom was really like my band, you know, the band that I was like a teenager when I first saw that stuff. And then from there on, like I just kept going on with them throughout the years, you know, on and off.
Yeah,
but always
of course, that's
but always following them close. I always wanted to see them live, and like since 2016, I was like in a huge Children of Bodom binge again, and it all like culminated in 2019 when I got to see them, and then I'm still on that binge. So,
see, for me, it's kind of funny because my first experience with them was I was a young teenager, right? We're talking now mid 90s.
right.
So I had my own, crappy teenage metal band.
Right.
Well, that was fun. So I remember, back then, of course, internet was not as widely used as today. It was still there, but not as widely used. So the way you would get news for the metal scene, especially since back then was way more obscure than it is now, was through Metal Hammer, of course.
Magazines, yeah.
Or, word of mouth from friends and cassette tapes and all that. So I remember we bought with my friends, the Metal Hammer edition. One of them would buy it, and then the rest of us would share it. And there was this young kid, slightly older than us, silently being, making headlines and everything with his band, right? And that kid was the one and only Alexi Laiho. And, of course, the band was the one and only Children of Bodom.
Of course.
And I remember the first experience I had musically speaking with them was listening to like Bodom and Red Light in My Eyes.
It's a good one.
I was instantly hooked.
Yeah.
Like there's no way,
Yeah.
Obviously I was already a metalhead at this point, but still. And, at that age, you're a little bit skeptical. You're like, hey, aren't those guys a little bit too young, But no, man.
They were very young when they were writing those songs.
They were, but their music was very mature already.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The neoclassical elements that those songs had, you were instantly blown. And the solos and the keyboards, like everything was over the top in a good way. And the other thing, it's funny that you mentioned the one on and off situation, which is normal with any band, to be honest. Right. For me, Children of Bodom has always been the one band that always someone very close to me keeps bringing me back to.
Right.
So, for example, when I was a young teenager, the singer from our band, Vasilis Ladopoulos, if you're watching this, man, hey, much love out to you, bro. I hope you're doing good. So Vasilis would be our singer who actually loved and worshipped Alexi, and he would sing along that style,
Right.
He would definitely get me hooked all the time with this. So we would keep, listening to the cassette tapes, all that stuff. Then in the second decade, in my 20s, I had Jamie. I know you're watching this, so much love out to you. And by the way, Jamie has some killer Alexi guitars in his collection.
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh, yeah. Jamie is a huge Bodom fan. So Jamie and I would work together on game development projects, and, we would keep trading off MP3s and whatnot and links and all that. And then, of course, from the third decade on, this guy right here, he keeps pulling it back into the whole Children of Bodom.
Yeah,
and
Bodom.
You know how you mentioned you're on that bench since 2019 again?
2016.
2016. So, yeah, it's his fault I'm on that bench right now for the last 3 years or so. Yeah. So it's kind of funny, And then, of course, we started playing together with Laiho guitars. I remember when you got that Greeny.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got me hooked on that. And then, the rest is history.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for some reason, it's the only band that had that effect, like kind of every decade of my life or so, having someone close kind of pulling me back into it. And for that reason, as well as so many others, it holds such a special place in my heart.
2016, I was playing Dark Souls, and all I wanted to do was just play Dark Souls and listen to Children of Bodom.
That's a hell of a combination.
It's a good, it works as a good soundtrack for that game. And before that, I played Quake, and I was like, Bodom was around when Quake was around.
Yeah, that's actually.
Well, the Quake soundtrack is amazing on its own.
Yeah, of course.
It definitely stands on its own, but when you add some Bodom on it can be fun. When you're like playing it again for the billionth time, it's cool to have a different soundtrack. And that was the one band that I sort of grew up like following and listening to, and that's the one band I liked. And the cool thing about it is that there were not that many bands doing solos around that time.
Oh, that's an excellent point. Actually.
It was mostly the new metal stuff. Nothing wrong with it, it was cool too, but there were no solos, so it was really cool to see Bodom like bring back the shredding, the solos, and they were just so fast and in between the black metal and melodic, whatever you want to label it, but it was still their own thing, and the soloing was great. Like you said, some neoclassical stuff on many melodies and leads, and I liked listening to that. I thought that was one of the coolest parts, actually.
Actually, it's an excellent point you bring up, because that was a time that a lot of artists, not gonna name them, would actually kind of start ditching solos because it was the fashionable thing to do, right? And yet Alexi, I mean, obviously he has been influential in so many ways, but that was also one of the main ways, in my opinion, that he was influential for guitar players, because at the time that everybody thought solos have no place here anymore, they're not popular, he didn't give a crap.
Yeah.
He kept shredding like a god, and he kept shredding like crazy, and he actually kept bringing people back into wanting more of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely, I feel like it was, if not the most important reason that we kept soloing and shredding since then, at least one of the most important.
Oh yeah, especially during that time. It was a tough time for solos, but he didn't care.
Thanks to Alexi, they survived.
Yeah.
Great. So I mean, again, this is a tribute to these guys. Each and every one of them has been great as a musician.
Oh yeah.
So let's start exploring, though, what were they playing with? And of course, when we say that, specifically, we mean the guitars.
Yes.
So let's get to the guitars.
Yeah.
Before we get into the few guitars we have, we should start mentioning some of the distinctions and different features they have, right?
Sure.
First of all, when it comes to Alexi's guitars, we have the ESP custom subs, the E2s, the Edwards, and the LTDs.
Right.
So the differences between them, the main ones are the LTDs, first of all, do not feature the booster that we have for the pickup.
Yes.
They are not available for all the models.
Right.
Whereas the Edwards, on the other hand, they all have the booster, and they are pretty much identical to their ESP custom sub counterparts.
And it's available for most models.
And it's available for most models except for the Wild Scythe, the Ripped, and the Hexed.
Yes.
And Whitey.
Yeah, that too.
So, and then the E2, likewise, is not available for most models.
Yes.
It's extremely close as far as quality goes to ESP custom sub, and price-wise too. But they're available, at least right now, only for the Ripped and the Hexed. For a while, they also had the Wild Scythe.
Yes.
But no longer, which we'll cover later on why that has been discontinued. Then the other difference is between ESP custom subs, the latest, which are the Ripped and the Hexed, they have some more modern features.
Right. They have locking tuners.
Locking tuners.
Jazzcar frets.
Jazzcar frets. Lumen lay side dots.
Yeah.
And what do we have with the Ripped? Which we never had before.
The neck pickup.
The neck pickup.
Neck pickup.
Then last but not least, actually before the last point, then we have also the DSP custom subs have the EMG FH2HZ pickup, whereas the Edwards, for example, have the EMG FH2. Now, to be fair, I don't know what the difference is. It sounds almost the same to me. Maybe the H2, I mean, the HZ sounds maybe a little bit more boosted on the high end, but they're the same pickup to me.
And it's also the same booster for all of them that have
and the
it.
Same booster.
The MM04, so preamp booster.
So then the only difference that we have to mention between the different versions of guitars is that you have the US version of some of the guitars, which, by the way, the LTD always adheres to the US version, and the Japanese version. So the difference is that on the US version of the guitars, the guitar is a V-shaped guitar, so the treble side horns or wings are longer than those of the Japanese counterparts. Mm-hmm. Not for the record, Alexi was playing the Japanese versions, so his lower horn, or better said, the treble side horn or wing was shorter than what you would get with the US editions.
Yes.
And the backplate on the US editions is on and screwed there, whereas the Japanese editions do not even have pre-drilled holes.
Yes.
And last but not least, man, that's a lot. That's a lot of things to remember.
Yeah.
The spring positions. So the ESP custom shop models come with the spring positions the way Alexi had them configured, whereas the LTDs and the Edwards come with the standard Floyd configuration, which is the springs being 2 of them diagonally placed and 1 in the middle.
Right.
Did we cover everything?
Guess we did, but yeah, I guess it's very important to keep in mind that if the guitar is meant for the US market, it will have the longer horn, no matter what package. It could be the LTD. All the LTDs have the longer horn, but the custom shop ESP, if it's the American version, will have the longer horn.
And the backplace.
Yeah. Does the E2 have that as well?
Yeah, the E2
E2
does
as well. So
yeah.
E2 also has an American market design that also has the longer horn. So if you want the shorter treble side horn, it has to be the Japanese market guitars, the Japanese made custom shop, the Japanese E2, and Edwards guitars.
Correct. And just for the record, the reason this happens is because of the ESP Jackson lawsuit as far as the shape of the V, the ESP V versus the Jackson Randy Rhoads shape. So, look it up if you want more information on that. Let's start presenting the guitars we have here chronologically. I would say that there was, I believe, 10 models, and we have 7 out of those 10. No, sorry. We have 8 out of 11. As we said, only a few guitars. So let's get to it because that's a lot of guitars to cover.
Yeah.
And we will start presenting them to you guys chronologically. And of course, with the different features each and every one of them has.
Hell yeah.
I think it's a good point for us to thank actually Kai Sariko from Samailma.
Yes.
Thanks so much, Kai, for getting back to us so fast and being so helpful with all the information you shared with us. For the people that don't know, of course, Kai Sariko and Samailma are a very important part of Alexi's guitar history. They're definitely part of that history.
Yes.
Samailma is a Finnish music store with which Alexi worked exclusively.
Yes.
He was pretty much the connection between, they were the connection between Alexi and ESP, correct?
Yes, so whenever Children of Bodom was not touring, they would take breaks. They would go to Musamalma, and Alexi would bring the feedback, it would be nicer if we could have the guitar like this or like that. What features would he like? And Musamalma would bring this all the way to the ESP Japan, and they would implement that on the following iteration of the Alexi Laiho guitar. And that's how they worked. They had like a very close relationship. And Kai was nice enough to respond to our emails. He was so kind. And we asked him about the chronological order in which the Alexi Laiho guitars came. So that was very nice of him. And that is why we're starting out with the Arrowhead, right?
Absolutely. So once again, thank you, Kai.
Yes.
And by the way, one last thing I should say before we move on to the guitars, in case you guys haven't watched it, Kai has this amazing video.
Yes.
About Alexi's guitars. We'll definitely have the link in the description.
Yes.
Definitely check it out. It's also, I believe it's an emotional video too, because at the end of the day, for us, Alexi was the myth, the legend, but there were people in his life that knew him on a very personal level.
Right.
Like family, friends. Kai is definitely one of those guys. So, it's a very nice video that I strongly recommend for anyone that, follows Children of Bodom and Alexi's legacy to pretty much watch.
Right.
So, on with the guitars then. So, the very first we have is Arrowhead. So, what's different between the Arrowhead and the other guitars?
So the Arrowhead was the first ESP custom guitar that Alexi Laiho had. Alexi Laiho was playing Jackson guitars, and because he had his Jackson guitar stolen, they ended up moving forward with ESP, and ESP promised to make a guitar that would be just as good and would play just like a Jackson guitar. Of course, he would have this in the ESP custom shop package. This is the Edwards version of the same guitar. And this one features the yellowed solid stripe. And we have obviously the Arrowhead inlays.
Which yellow solid stripe kind of resembles, I guess we could say, is the spiritual successor of the Jackson Wild Child, right?
Right. That would make perfect sense. And yeah, I love it. It's just like a black guitar with gold hardware, the yellow solid stripes. The Edwards version of it does feature the booster right here. And like you said, if you watch the video by Kai Sairiko, he'll explain how this booster came to be, how they sent the designs all the way to ESP, and they eventually came out with this version of it. It has, like I said, like gold hardware. What is this bridge again?
It's a Floyd Rose 1000.
Floyd Rose 1000.
So
gold.
the difference is that the ESP custom subs have the original Floyd Rose. The Edwards have the 1000.
Yes.
But I would say that the 1000 is definitely a very good bridge. It's very stable. It definitely stays in tune. Very durable. But yeah, that's the difference between pretty much the ESP custom sub and the Edwards.
The pickup, if you don't mind.
Pickup in this case is the EMG FH2. And usually custom subs have the FH2HZ. Now, to be honest with you, I feel like they're the exact same pickup. If anything, I would say, at least to my ears, that the HZ has a little bit of a boost, I guess, on the higher frequencies, so it sounds a little bit sharper, perhaps.
Okay.
So I guess those pinch harmonics might sound a little bit sharper, but quite frankly, if you have the booster on and you have the the regular EMG FH2, you're gonna nail those harmonics no matter what. So you're definitely getting the Bodom sound with this guitar. There's no doubt about it.
So yeah, it's 24 frets. These are nickel frets, and this one does not feature any scalloping on the higher frets. It's just same as all the other frets. It does feature the deeper cut. I believe this is an alder body, and this is an ebony fretboard.
Ebony fretboard, maple, three-piece maple
three-piece
neck.
maple neck. And I think, would it be okay if we turn it around?
Oh, absolutely.
So just 1 second. Yes. Well, thank you. So as you can see, what are these tuners?
Those are Godot tuners. They're not the lock-in tuners.
Right.
And just to clarify, Edwards guitars and the ESP custom subs, specifically for the Arrowhead, they don't have lock-in tuners either. Lock-in tuners, as we mentioned previously, are a newer feature that you find on the Ripped, the custom sub Ripped, and the Hexed.
Yeah.
Also the two versions of those guitars.
Oh, the E2s have it too.
Correct.
Very interesting. So yeah, we don't have any backplates. That's how Laiho liked them. Some of these guitars, they might have the plate. I think it's the custom shop American version, right?
The American version, even the custom shop has them. And of course, the LTDs have them. But yeah, like the Japanese versions of the ESP, E2, and Edwards, they do not have the custom the backplates, which is exactly how Alexi had them. Actually, they don't even have any pre-drilled holes. So
yeah, it's just open. And we have obviously the nice Pan Am, the Pan Am recycled cigarette ashtrays, which is just right here. So you can, if I could open it. Can you? There we go. Thank you. So yeah, the battery over here, as you can see. So this battery is not for the pickup, right? So the pickup is actually a passive pickup, and this battery is just to power the MM04 booster, which will increase your signal and help you hit those pinch harmonics. It will give you just a little more signal, make playing a little bit smoother, a little bit easier.
Definitely more aggressive sound, I would say.
Yeah. When it hits the Marshall amp, it really helps.
Now that you mentioned that, actually, I have a question for you. Of course, I do know the answer, and I know your opinion on that. But let's say that you have an LTD guitar, right?
Sure.
An LTD Alexi guitar, and of course, unfortunately, the booster is not part of those guitars.
It's absent, yes.
Which, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, it should be part of those guitars.
Agreed.
But regardless, it's not. So what would be your recommendation? Because I understand that not everybody will be comfortable or know it, a skilled luthier or have the skills themselves to actually drill and install, drill the body and install the booster. What would you recommend for people like that?
You can always resort to an overdrive pedal. But I personally prefer the Boss preamp boost pedal. It's a Wazacraft pedal. It was released not that long ago. I think it was released, maybe it was 2023 or maybe 2024.
I think it's recent, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a recent pedal. It's a Wazacraft pedal, and that pedal will increase your signal. You can select what kind of style you want. If you want the CE, or it all comes from like old choruses, and then he gets the preamp section of those choruses and puts it in pedal form, and that will increase your signal without distorting it so much. And then you can increase how much level and how much gain you want before you push that signal into an amp, into a tube.
So
amp.
I guess it's kind of safe to say that this is the closest alternative to what the booster has, as opposed to using an OD or any kind of distortion pedal up front.
Yeah, I like that boss pedal because it does not distort the signal. It just makes your signal fatter and
just
bigger.
Increases the dBs pretty much, right?
Yeah, it's similar to what this has. It doesn't really distort your signal as much. It just makes your signal thicker. And then once you hit the distortion from the Marshall, and you hit that kind of distortion, you're golden.
That's heaven.
You're amazing. And
so there you go, guys. If you have an LTD, definitely check out the pedal. We actually tried it, and we don't have LTDs. We've tried it with other guitars that don't have, a boost preamp, and it definitely works. It
sounds good, fashion. And it doesn't really matter if it's tube amp or digital. It sounds good even on digital because it's just increasing the signal of your guitar.
Actually, we did try it even with a quad cortex, and it does work.
So I guess we can flip it back. This guitar does have the just like dots for side dots.
Yeah, there's no lumen lace. Once again, that's a much later feature.
Yeah. And it does have like a binding, right, from the neck all the way to the headstock, but this binding stops right here, and then the rest is just...
It's a classic white plain binding, which looks great in my opinion. It accentuates pretty much the neck.
Oh, yeah. And it has the amazing pearloid inlays that I love. The Arrowhead pearloid inlays with... And these nickel frets, they are...
Oh, they're very good.
They're the best you can get. Very good. Yeah,
I know that stainless steel is all the rage, and I'm not gonna disagree. I mean, they do feel good. They are durable, but those are pretty much up there. So
yeah. So that's quite it. The only other thing I'd like to point out is just the difference between this guitar and the ESP custom version of it. Is that if you do get an ESP custom Japan version of this guitar, the battery backplate the cavity for the battery, the plate for the battery cavity will be recessed, and so will be the input jack.
Correct.
They'll all be the same color. The battery will still be silver, and the input jack will be gold, like the rest of the gold hardware. But it's more recessed on custom guitars, on the custom shop guitar version.
Yeah, there's a little bit more attention to detail, I guess.
Right. It is a custom shop after all.
And speaking of custom shops, actually, the time of recording this video, ESP just released the relic version of that guitar, which is an exact replica of what Alexi himself played. So, triple X 24/7 CKY, all carved in,
scratched up on the body. So
yeah, definitely. Not treated in the best possible way, but it is an exact replica. And of course, the price is a lot more expensive than if you buy the plain, regular, pristine looking one.
I prefer it like this, but that's just my
Same
opinion.
here.
I prefer them clean. But sure, Alexi wasn't necessarily that nice to them.
Well, I mean, you gotta give it to the man. It's a memorable look, and as soon as you see it, you know exactly what you're looking at.
True.
Speaking of which, once again, if we go back to Kai,
he has that.
Make sure you guys watch that video because he actually has Alexi's actual guitar, the Arrowhead, and that's an iconic guitar. I mean, whether you like it being scratched or not, this specific guitar is iconic. So definitely check out the video because the man talks about this guitar in great detail, and there's definitely a lot of history behind it.
Yeah, it was definitely one of Alexi Laiho's favorite guitars. He talks about how much he liked the neck and the frets and just the feel of playing the Arrowhead that he had for the longest time. And yeah, it was, I believe this was the first one that ESP made for him.
It was the first one, correct.
And you can easily spot him like playing it, both practicing and in live performances. He definitely liked this guitar. So I really like the Edwards package. It's an amazing guitar.
I feel like it's it's the best alternative to an ESP custom shop. It's way more affordable.
Right.
I know there used to be an LTD version that kind of resembled the Arrowhead. I think the difference was that the inlays were Sawtooth, but the body more or less looked like that. Of course, there was no booster. And I believe the wings were the American version, so both wings were very long compared to the Japanese version.
Right.
So I wouldn't say it's an exact replica, whereas the Edwards is identical to the ESP Custom.
It's very close. It's the closest it gets.
And possibly cheaper than an LTD at this point.
Yes.
Depending, you know, if I were you guys and you're interested in an Edwards, definitely keep an eye on Reverb on a daily basis. And eBay too, you know, I got this one on eBay.
Yeah.
It came a little bit beaten up as far as the hardware goes. You remember that?
Yeah.
I had to clean up a lot of stuff myself. I had to do the setup myself, but it was worth it. I got it for a cheaper price, and I think, you know, this guitar right now, the way it's set up and everything is, you know, it's definitely doing something for us.
Yeah, you did set it up nicely, so it plays like a dream. It's an amazing guitar. So,
and you know, speaking of setups, probably we mentioned it before, but let's just go one more time over that. Just to clarify, Edwards guitars, they don't come with the springs set up this way.
Oh, that's right. Good to mention. Yes.
They come with a traditional Floyd way, where you have the treble side, the bass side of the guitar, you know, the spring being diagonal, exactly like this here. The treble side also being diagonal, which is not what we have here. And then the middle spring being exactly in the middle. So what we did is we modified the position to match exactly the configuration that Alexi had.
Right.
Which is pretty much the treble side has 2 springs straight. And then the bass side, you just leave the spring be as it was between the claw and the bridge block.
Also, while you're at it, this one also feats like a more ergonomic like cut, which is why we don't have the full pinstripe all the way. This is actually recessed, and it makes it easier for you to reach, you know, around the guitar when you're playing it. So it's really nice. It's a little more ergonomic, and I believe it's the same in the custom shop model as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the other difference I can actually pinpoint as far as custom subs go, I feel like the neck joint is a little bit deeper.
Sure.
But honestly, doesn't make much of a difference.
Doesn't matter, yeah.
And this is very smooth. It feels really good, you know. So
it's a killer guitar.
I mean, there you go. I mean, you know, I can understand why somebody would want an ESP custom sub, of course, you know.
Yeah.
Because it is, after all, what Alexi was playing. But at the same time, it's not exactly the most attainable, affordable, or even if you could afford it, it's not necessarily easy to find.
True. On top of that, yeah.
One safe bet to find an ESP custom shop is Musamailma.
For sure.
Definitely check out the link we have below, because if you are interested in an ESP custom shop Alexi, or even the Edwards Alexis, you can definitely place an order with them, but keep in mind, it will be a pre-order, so it will take a while because they're not easy to find, especially the ESP custom shops.
Yeah. Absolutely. Great guitar, though. We love it. We love playing this. It sounds killer. And yeah, that's the Edwards Arrowhead.
And, you know, the Arrowhead, as we said, was the first one, which now brings us to the second one.
Let's go to it.
So the second guitar after the Arrowhead, which is a very close second. Yes. I mean, as per Kai's email, technically it's first along with the Arrowhead, but within actually they got the second one produced within 3 to 4 weeks apart from the Arrowhead.
Yes.
So the second one is one of my favorites. Then again, I would probably say that for all of them, but
same.
The Scythe.
Right? Yes.
I mean, that I'm not gonna lie, man. They're all sick, but when I look at the Scythe, it does something.
Well, Alexi definitely liked this guitar. He played it quite a lot. You can see it in live performances. You can see how much he liked this guitar. And I mean, there's not much to talk about. It's just
those inlays. Look at those inlays.
Yeah.
That's the most metal inlay I've ever seen.
You have scythes for inlays.
Exactly. Like, name one other guitar that has more metal inlays than this one.
That's a tough ask.
Including the Alexi guitars, you know.
That's a tough ask. And I like how we have, like, on the 12th fret, we have, like, 2 scythes. And then we have it again, even though it's tiny. But it's in the 24th fret, we also have double scythes. So every 12,
And of
So-
course, we're still lacking the scalloped frets, which makes sense since it was produced around the same time as the Arrowhead.
the whole process is iterative. Like Alexi would bring the feedback, and then they would make them with more features and nicer. So it's a whole evolution over a timeline.
Correct.
But I just love this look. It's just a white guitar with the black pinstripes. It's basically the same as the previous one. Same pickups, same bridge.
I gotta say it. There is one word that comes to me when I look at this guitar.
I already know.
I call it the dissection guitar.
Oh, okay. I was thinking black metal.
Well, I mean, it's dissection,
But yeah.
right? I don't know, man. It's like, I feel like dissection was definitely an influence on Alex. I mean, after all, even with Bodom After Midnight, he did cover Where Dead Angels Lie. And
Correct.
honestly, that's one of the best covers I've ever heard of that song. And Hail of Blood, to me, it's like a huge nod to, dissection, and especially Storm of the Light's Pain. I feel like Hail of Blood is like, in a way, sort of a tribute to that album.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
for whatever reason, because that guitar obviously was produced before all those things came up. I feel like that's a black metal guitar.
I just love this guitar. I love the way it looks. Shall we turn it around?
Oh, absolutely.
So, excuse me.
Oh, yeah.
Let's be very careful. Let's just get the whammy bar out of the way. And there we go.
So it does have one very notable difference compared to the others, right?
Yeah, it's definitely the neck. It's fully painted like white from the headstock all the way to the body. So it does feel a little different.
Very
honestly.
seamless.
Yeah.
There's no joint in
Yeah,
this
you can't
one.
feel the joint because of the paint coat. It also features the same ergonomic cut as the Arrowhead. Everything else is the same: the bridge, the springs, the battery cavity, and it just looks amazing, doesn't
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Like from the back, it's
Oh,
just white and black, so simple.
Simple yet effective,
Yeah, I love this guitar so much, and so did Alexi. But he had it in the custom shop version of it. But really, not many differences between this and the custom shop.
The only thing I have noticed once in a while is I've seen versions of that guitar, and I'm talking about versions that Alexi actually played, where the neck was also maple. It wasn't painted. Yet I have also seen him play with versions that were painted, just like this one.
Right.
So I guess at some point, if I had to guess, probably first came the unpainted version, and then maybe they decide to paint it, or maybe the other way around. I don't know, but I've seen him play both, and for some reason with that guitar, I feel like the painted neck suits it better,
I think it is the only one that has a fully painted neck.
That's
out
correct.
of all of them. The rest is just a wooden neck. I like the satin feel, but for this one, I just like it. It's just so seamless. It just makes it for such a nice
I know
guitar.
that a lot of players out there feel like painted necks kind of slow them down, right? But I feel like it performs just great, just as good. Feels just as good.
I like it.
Sweat doesn't seem to, interfere with it. And it does look sick. I mean,
I love this guitar so much. I guess I'm going to turn it back around if you don't mind.
oh, here's another difference that actually I just realized.
Yes.
I believe that's the only headstock that doesn't match the body. It's black headstock, white body.
That'd be a good catch. I never noticed that. I
It
don't
just
have
hit me,
them on
actually.
my...
It just
Yeah.
hit me. Because I mean,
Oh,
sure,
you're right, because they all have like a black headstock.
and
and
the
then,
Arrowhead is black body, so black headstock. But then if we fast forward, to the Hexed and the Ripped, they kind of have purple headstocks. So,
right. Matches the body.
so I feel like it's the only guitar that the body and the headstock are not matching. Not that it admires. I mean, it still looks sick, but just another small difference there to observe.
I love it. And there's this one is so close to the ESP custom shop version,
Oh yeah.
because like from this to the ESP custom version of this guitar, the custom version of the Scythe, very few differences. I have no clue right now if you order one, if I were to get an ESP custom shop version of the Scythe tomorrow, I don't know if I would have the painted neck or not, like you mentioned,
I believe you would.
the
I've
painted neck
seen a
as well.
couple actually listed, and they're all kind of recent.
Right.
After they closed the Kiso factory and moved everything to to wherever they are right now. So every later version of the Scythe I have seen listed, and I mean the ESP custom shop, it's all white.
So yeah, I guess on ESP custom version, this would be the exact same thing, with the only difference being the pickups and the bridge.
Yeah,
it'd be
original Floyd versus the 1000.
But even the booster is the same.
Yeah.
So it's an MM04 booster. Makes no difference between the Edwards and the custom shop. Maybe the LTD version of this, if that even exists, it would probably not have the booster.
At some point there was an LTD version, and again, I think they did feature the Scythe inlays. I'm not sure, but I believe I have seen the Scythe inlays in LTDs, but they didn't have the booster, of course. And the wings, once again, were the longer version.
Yeah, over here we do have the shorter with Edwards. Doesn't get much better than that, does it?
Yeah.
I mean,
and I actually like how they combine the chrome hardware with the rest of the guitar. Because, at the same time, they could have probably used black hardware since the pinstripes are black.
Yeah.
But I feel like chrome does it a little bit more. I don't know. It kind of matches the inlays. You know what I mean?
I like it too. It's a beautiful guitar. Alexi obviously loved this, and he played a lot of it. You can definitely see in live performances and videos. Classic guitar. And yeah, I think it's a. And it sounds great.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I feel that it matches very well with the one that's coming next, though.
Oh.
I feel like these two kind of complement each other. It's like the negative version of each other. You know what I mean? Like the negative image of each other. So
they'll see it.
Let's see which one are we talking about.
Yeah, let's go.
So, what's the perfect negation to the Scythe?
As we can see, it would be the Sawtooth, which is the polar opposite, right? If we were to reverse the colors on the Scythe, we would get the Sawtooth, which
except for the headstock, by the way. The
headstock
remains the same.
Yeah, good point. And that's what you were just mentioning with the Scythe. Absolutely right. This is another model that Alexi was very close to. You can see there are performances he's playing this. He plays Morrigan with this live, and I love this guitar. He obviously has had this tuned in many different tunings for different styles, different songs.
Yeah.
And beautiful guitar. Obviously, he played this in the ESP custom shop version, of course. And yeah, this one features the Sawtooth inlays.
Ironically enough, that's the name of that model, right? So my guess is he liked that inlay so much because even though the following models are not Sawtooths anymore, right? I mean, technically, they kind of are, actually, because you have the pink Sawtooth and so on.
Yeah, it is a pinky Sawtooth. That's correct. Yeah,
that's true. But you don't have a ribbed Sawtooth. You don't have a hexed Sawtooth. And yet they feature Sawtooth inlays. So I guess he felt probably like that's his favorite, maybe.
It definitely looked like that.
It's easier to see what you're doing when you're playing, as opposed to the Scythe. You know what I mean?
Right, the inlays.
So if you have some dim lighting, while you're performing and... there's chaos all around you. I guess the Sawtooth is a little bit easier to follow.
Well, since you're touching that subject, here's one of the key differences between this guitar and the ESP custom shop version of the Sawtooth is the fact that the inlays in the custom shop, they're actually glow in the dark. This one in the Edwards package, they come with these pearloid inlays. It's still the same shape. They're Sawtooths on both guitars. But this one has the pearloids, and the custom shop will have the glow in the dark. They're white, but they are glow in the dark inlays.
And speaking of glowing in the dark, you also told me that something else on the guitar glows in the dark.
Oh, yeah. Well, they say that the pinstripes on the custom shop, they're luminous. I'm not sure if that means glow in the dark, but that's definitely on the description. Luminous pinstripes.
Yeah.
I never had this in custom shop, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. But I know for a fact that you can clearly tell the inlays are definitely the white glow in the dark model for it. This one does feature the scalloped frets.
Actually, you're right. That's the first model that actually featured it, right? So in a way, this is a milestone guitar in the evolution of Alexi guitars, because we start seeing elements that we see repeated in the future, like the Sawtooth inlays, the scalloped frets, right?
And we also see elements that were set up in the past, such as the deeper cut for easier access on the higher fret, which is something that the Arrowhead and the Scythe featured. And Yeah, like I said, scalloped frets from, I guess it's
20 to 24.
Is it 20?
Yeah, that's the 20th.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, the 20th fret to the 24th fret. And again, it is an Edwards guitar, so it comes with the same package, the same bridge, the same pickup, the same booster. And and the same Goto tuners. They're not locking. Nickel frets, and it's still alder with ebony fretboard and a maple neck. And if I can turn the guitar around, if you excuse me.
Absolutely.
Oh, go ahead, please.
Let me help you with it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful guitar.
Yeah. And once again, side dot inlays, 3-piece maple neck. We do have the joint on this one. Very, very smooth.
Yeah.
You can barely tell. Like, that's like
Seamless.
stupid smooth.
Definitely
Yeah.
seamless.
And we also set it up in the Alexi style for the springs on the
I don't
back,
know. I
so-
feel like the Edwards guitars are some of the best guitar you can get for the money. You know what I mean? Like you get features that you would expect to find in considerably more expensive guitars, and
Yeah. It's a lot of value.
I
for
feel
your
like
money.
they don't get enough attention for what they actually are and what they provide. Like besides the fact that, you know, let's assume you're not an Alexi fan or a Children of Bodom fan or whatever. Just a guitar player. This is a lot of guitar for the money.
It is. Many other brands will charge a lot more for all these features in a guitar. Absolutely. And like one tiny difference would be that this one does feature the Made in Japan on the sticker. I don't know why they're doing that. We know they're made in Japan. And
I believe up to a point, Edwards guitars, based on the rumors I read online, were not made in Japan. Now, for a couple of years, I think they are being made in Japan.
Right.
But to be honest with you, I don't know where they're made. It doesn't matter to me. What matters is how they play. And man, those guitars definitely play well.
well, they used to say that they would get the materials, the woods from China, and they would get it like cut and pre-assembled in China. And then all of that would get moved to the ESP factory in Japan, where they would assemble the guitar and install the plastics and the electronics and all of that. And painting the guitar and all of that would still be made in Japan. I honestly couldn't care less. You know, they could be made in Mars, and if it's like an ESP guitar, like if Edwards were made in Mars, I'd still buy them because they play like
actually,
a dream. You know,
That would be a cool feature, actually.
yeah, it would actually be. That would actually probably make them.
You have an
expensive.
extraterrestrial guitar. I mean,
They would
how
cost
cool is
so
that, man?
much. They would cost so much. Let's just not go there. Well, sadly, both the Sawtooth and the Katakana, which we'll go over, of course, Edwards do make them, of course, but they like to charge a little more. Most sellers, they will charge a little more because they're a little more rare, and they're some of Alexi's favorites. So they tend to price them a little higher than an Arrowhead, for instance, or like a Scythe or a Greeny. But they're still out there. You know, I'm just happy that they're still like, you can still buy this. And like you said, you might take a little bit of looking, a little bit of scouting.
Absolutely.
You might take a little bit of time, but I'm just happy. I'm just happy to have this. It's amazing.
I mean, at the time of recording this video,
Yes.
you know, because you know me, I stock reverb on a daily basis.
Of course.
You know, who needs stock market? You know, you just speculate over reverb. So, as a matter of fact, I believe there's only one Sawtooth right now.
Really?
You know who's selling it.
Oh, yeah.
So I believe there's only one Sawtooth at the time that we're recording this. However, and I know that, you know, in the period since you got the Katakana now, there weren't many Katakanas at all.
Oh, yeah.
But suddenly, for the last 2 or 3 weeks, again, from, you know, we're talking about the period in time that we're recording this video, I've seen at least 3 Katakanas.
So yeah, I guess your suspicion might be correct. They do them in batches, or
It's like right now you can find a lot of greenies, a lot of Katakanas, not a lot of blackies, not a lot of pinkies. And yet, like a couple of months ago, you could find in abundance. There were so many pinkies. I was like, oh, wow, I didn't realize it's that popular. But suddenly you can find them right now.
Yeah.
And I did notice there are those cycles between the different models. So if you're interested in any specific model, don't give up, you know, just keep stocking the reverb on a daily basis, eBay as well, and, you know, hope for the best.
Well, since you mentioned reverb, this one was sold to me by Viking Music.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a great shop on reverb. They treated me so well, and they set up the guitar properly to the tuning I wanted. This one came like expertly set up.
And they definitely get the Children of Bodom feel. I mean, they are in Finland.
That's true. It is a Finnish shop, and they knew exactly what I wanted when I mentioned Bodom. So they tuned this for me, and they set up the strings in the Bodom style. They knew what they were doing. They treated me super well, and it shipped. It came very quickly to the US, and I love this guitar very much.
Great seller, great communication.
Absolutely. Good price too.
Good pricing.
They gave me a good price on this.
Very expedited shipping,
Very fast shipping, yes.
Because, there have been cases where we dealt with sellers that, they weren't very communicative, or the shipping was slow. And there have been, and I don't blame, of course, the shippers always, because, there is customs and whatnot.
Exactly, yeah.
But there were cases that it was the seller's fault. They delayed sending it out. Of course, there were cases, as we'll see later on, that it took a while for the guitar to arrive, but that wasn't the store's fault. The store actually was excellent. It stayed on top of things, filled in every paperwork that was necessary. But again, we'll get to that later. So yeah, Sawtooth, man, is definitely, again, it's like we said earlier. If whatever Alexi guitar we put here, I'm like, oh yeah, this is classic. Oh yeah, this is iconic. Oh, that's one of my favorites.
That's my new favorite.
But then, I have such a hard time saying that's my favorite. Like, they're all so good.
They're all our favorites.
Exactly. It's like, and someone could be like, hey, it's the same guitar over and over again. And yet it doesn't feel the same. Not to me. Like if I pick up the Scythe and I pick up the Sawtooth, I will get different kind of inspiration. You know what I mean? Yes. Even if they're in the same exact tuning with the same string gauge, it doesn't matter. To me, each guitar will bring up something different.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's most likely why there are so many of them. Like Laiho was just inspired by all of them. He obviously loved this one very much. You can definitely see he played this quite often. And yeah, man, it's just a killer guitar. It sounds just as crushed as all the other. They all sound amazing. Sounds massive.
And at this point, now that you say that, and since we're speaking about all of Alexi's guitars, and especially Edwards,
sure,
ESP, please do not, I repeat, do not stop making those guitars.
Yes.
Like, I don't know, obviously you have a lot better access to your own data, your sales data, but based on what I see, man, those guitars, they fly. Like,
yeah, they sell. And
I can see why. I mean, as I said, this is a lot of guitar for the money. You get a lot of value for this. And they don't just look sick, they play sick.
Yeah.
So by all means, this is a guitar that needs to continue existing.
Yeah, let's hope ESP keep this in the roster. It'd be nice if they keep it both in the ESP custom shop and in the Edwards package, especially the Edwards because it's so accessible.
I agree.
But I would like to have this in a ESP custom shop model one day too. I mean, I'd like to have all of them in custom shop model one day. But yeah, man, amazing guitar. It looks crushed. It's so simple, but yet so beautiful. It's great guitar, man.
And at this point, since we're bringing up requests towards ESP, if you guys ever get to watch this, please, if you continue the ESP, the LTD Alexi models, give some boosters to those poor things,
For the LTDs.
Yes.
Yes.
Come on, it's such a small thing.
It'd be nice to have.
And yet so useful, so cool, Yeah.
I agree. It would be very nice to have factory installed.
Because, the guitars themselves, they're excellent construction. Good. LTDs are good guitars,
good guitars. And they're not cheap either. They're not cheap.
They're not cheap, but, compared to the competition, again, for that price range, you get some really good guitars in the LTD, line. So, but this is an Alexi LTD, so give it the Alexi booster,
I agree. I couldn't agree more, so... Yeah, I guess we can move on to the next guitar.
Yeah, because, we're only getting started. I mean, we covered so far 3 guitars, and we still have plenty more. So let's see what's next. What do we know about this guitar, Lucas?
It's iconic.
It's iconic. It's definitely iconic, yeah.
Alexi definitely played this very often. And as you can see in this picture, there's no booster.
And I believe the horn on all those guitars, because they were the USA model, it was always longer. I don't think that guitar ever came with a shorter horn.
You might be right. But what's confusing about it is because there is footage of Alexi Laiho, there's pictures of Alexi Laiho playing this guitar no booster switch, and then there's footage and the booster's there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was a completely different model of the same guitar where the booster was added, or if someone just added the booster on the same model guitar.
I guess maybe he had received it like that, but then probably went to some island and was like, hey, how about we install the booster because I kind of like it more.
Well,
that would make sense.
It's hard to guess at this point. What pickup is that? That would have been a Seymour Duncan?
I believe that's also an EMG.
A GMG, so... Okay,
but
EMG.
don't take my word for it,
Yeah.
I honestly, even finding pictures of this guitar was hard. So...
Well, I believe that's the one that Alexi Laiho mentions that it completely exploded.
That's why we can't find it.
Yeah. So, he would throw the guitars, the techies and the assistants around stage when he was playing them. And apparently this one did some cartwheels. I mean, they would do cartwheels and then just pick it up and keep playing them, and they would keep the tuning. But this one apparently completely exploded. Yeah, this one didn't make it. It fully exploded. And because it was a festival run, they just hung it up and they just put a sign like what not to do when playing guitar or something. And I believe this is the one that he mentions that actually exploded because he never played this again. I guess he was happy with the successor, which would have been the Scythe.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's you can definitely...
Actually, no, this came after the Scythe.
It came after the Scythe.
Ironically enough.
So he kept playing the predecessor then.
I think this came around the same time as the Sawtooth.
Okay.
And you can see it also uses Sawtooth inlays.
That's true.
It does maintain a similar pattern to our Bear's Head color scheme to the Scythe. I guess like the Scythe version, it's like the Scythe's version or Bear's Head Arrowhead version of the Scythe. If that makes sense.
Like a white Arrowhead.
We have solid stripes. Black, right? White body, black headstock. But of course, instead of Scythe, we have Sawtooth inlays. But yeah, I don't know. It's I have seen plenty of versions of that guitar in the LTD format. Even now, I think if you go on Reverb, you can find eBay as
LTD,
well. Some LTDs that match, that color scheme and setup. But I think they're slightly different than that.
Right.
But overall, it's not easy to find the ESP custom sub version of that guitar.
Yeah, Whitey is definitely that would be the ESP one on the picture. So yeah.
Now, to be honest with you, ironically enough, I do not have a favorite, but I have a least favorite, and I think for me personally, that's the one. Right. Yeah. I don't know why. For some reason, the solid stripes with the black solid stripes with a white body, they don't do it for me.
You like it on the Arrowhead though.
I like them on the Arrowhead.
All right.
I don't know, maybe some with the yellow and black color combination kind of makes it pop more. I don't know.
I don't know if this one features the deeper cut.
I think it does. I can see it there.
Yeah, not sure.
Seems to be. But yeah, in any case, I mean...
It's a mysterious thing. We don't have it physically. And
yeah.
And like I said, there are pictures when Alexi's playing this guitar with a booster switch, and then there are instances when the booster switch is not there, maybe yet.
Yeah. But, the closest comparison I can make is a Scythe, and I can tell you any given day of the week, I would pick the Scythe over this one.
Or the Arrowhead.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying since it's the exact same color scheme and everything. Yeah.
So you like the pinstripes on the Whitey, on the Scythe?
Yes, but also, the Scythe inlays on the con.
The inlays are the best.
Those are sick, man.
Yeah, I feel like the Scythe is a little cooler than that.
And the Arrowhead is cooler than that too.
It would be cool to have it here and play it. I mean, maybe if we had it here, we would love it too. So
that's true. So
you also have a bias,
happen, right? Yeah,
you also have a bias for not only having it in picture and maybe not seeing Alexi playing it as much. But
that's true. That's very true.
We're also biased in this aspect, so it's cool that we point it out.
So if anyone out there can change that, hey, we're here.
Well, yeah, that's Whitey, and it's another iconic guitar.
Well, let's move to more iconic guitars. So next, probably I've said that too many times, but I'll say it again. We have another special guitar here. So moving on from the Sawtooth. Obviously, we still have the Sawtooth inlays, but only up to a point this time.
Yes.
So what's different?
Well, clearly there's no inlays after the 12th fret.
Did they forget them?
Yeah. No, well,
You never know, right?
maybe. We
Somebody
don't know.
maybe was too happy that night and
Maybe they put too much effort on this one, and they decided
That's
not.
true.
They wasted too much like materials on
Balance,
this. Yeah, they were out of well. Either way, the cool thing is that they made this one. Well, ESP was so happy to have Alexi playing their guitars. They were so proud of it, and they decided to make this one for Alexi Laiho. And they Katakanized his name, and this would read Arekishi.
oh, it's fine because I thought there was a smiling then.
Yes.
I mean, I know that's how I feel when I look at that guitar. So
Same. So he has his name Katakanized on the 12th fret, and then he decided to just not put any more inlays. It kind of makes it cool.
yeah,
Alexi loved this guitar as well. Maybe he didn't play it as much in live performances with this. Maybe you can definitely spot some like tutorial videos he's playing this, and there are plenty of pictures and media when he's playing this at the tour bus. So he obviously loved it. Obviously, he had this guitar in the ESP custom shop version of it.
yeah, just like all his guitars.
Yeah. But he also had LTDs. He would use them for practicing. He played LTDs.
Or tutorials too.
He played all models, but obviously the ones he was most fond of was the custom ones. And yeah, like as we can see, it's all yellow again. We're going back to the Arrowhead.
Before we get off the neck, we still have the scallop frets.
Oh yeah. This one does feature the scallop frets.
I believe from this point they're here to stay, right? So it's in every guitar that follows from here on. It features the scalloped frets.
You might be right. I can't confirm it from the top of my head, but I think you're right. Yeah. So I guess he really did like the scalloped frets, and it's featured in all of them. And yeah, once again, we got the yellow color, not a full stripe. We have pinstripes this time. And the rest is very much like the Arrowhead. It's gold hardware. Same stuff, same bridge, same pickup.
Booster
and everything. Yeah, thank you so much, Myron. Oh, yeah.
Some differences here.
Yeah, quite visible, actually, right?
Yeah. Still made in Japan, by the way.
Oh, yeah, it also has the Made in Japan sticker from the Edwards.
And we bring it up because it's an Edwards, For ESP custom shops, obviously they're made in Japan, but, this is an Edwards.
Yes, and this time we do not feature the more ergonomic cut. This time, this guitar is just...
We have a hate crew.
Yeah, it is the same shape, it's the same block all the way. And we have the graphic, the COBHC, the Children of Bodom hate crew graphic, which I really like it. But at the same time, I also like the ergonomic cut. So, I don't know. I
know how to solve this. You buy both.
Yeah, I don't really have a preference. I like both of them. I mean, it's really cool to have that graphic there. But if it was an ergonomic cut and there was nothing, I'd still be happy with it. It's an amazing guitar. Plays just as beastly as all the others. It's a total monster of a guitar. Sounds loud, sounds amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And it plays very fast, super comfortable. It's the same stuff. It's a 3-piece maple neck and ebony fretboard. The same side dot, black dot inlays. Alder body. This being an Edwards, it has the shorter wing like all the other guitars. It's the same.
They're the same.
And Goto tuners, they're non-locking, but that's it.
I feel like that's nicely paired with the Arrowhead.
It is, right?
Color scheme, right?
Yeah, I guess what the Katakana is to the Arrowhead is what the Sawtooth is to the Scythe.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Like it's kind of like a brotherly or sisterly spirits.
Sibling relationship.
Siblings. There you go. They're siblings.
Yeah. So an amazing guitar.
Absolutely.
It plays fast. It plays cool. Sadly, this is also not as common in both Edwards and ESP Custom Shop. It's obviously much more expensive in the Custom Shop package for it.
Yeah.
But you can definitely buy this in Edwards version. But it isn't always as easily to get, not as easily available. So they like to charge a little more for it. It's the same case as with the Sawtooth. But if you keep an eye out there, you can definitely find it. Just be patient, and they're still making these. And
Oh yeah. Once again, as previously mentioned at the time of this recording, just this morning I saw there's 2 of them. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, very interesting.
And that's the new ones, because there's also, I believe there's one that's used, but it's been there for a while. And I'll be honest, the used one has not sold. If whoever's selling it is watching this, I think you need to drop your price a little bit. Just trying to help you sell it. That's all. I mean, I'm not blaming anyone for, listing whatever price.
Yeah, whatever they want. Yeah, whatever they think it's fair. Yeah,
But
sure.
if you want to sell it, since it's been there for months, my advice to you, drop the price a little bit.
Yeah, is it an Edwards?
It's an Edwards.
Oh, I see it.
And it's in great condition because, I've seen some guitars, man.
Yeah.
Like some people out there, you guys know who you are, but you charge a lot for something that's not in a good condition. I'm being nice here,
Quite beat up. We've seen some of them.
Yeah, and if it was Alexi selling those, yeah, sure, that's fine. Like the Relics version, right? But in that case, guys, come on, either drop the price or I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, that's a great guitar, man. It's like once again, it's like if you told me so far what's my favorite guitar of all the ones we've sewn so far, I can't choose one. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know how I would choose one? You just line them up in front of me and I just close my eyes and go like
whatever.
Eeny,
meeny, miny, mo at this point.
Yeah, I mean it's
even though it's the same thing, right? It's the same guitar as
which also speaks volumes about the quality because it's consistent, It's hard to be consistent.
It is. It's quite consistent.
So there is something to be said about the fact that all those different models are so consistent and they maintain this consistency over a span of decades at this point,
Yeah, I really like what Edwards is doing. Crazy guitar. It's so good. It doesn't get much better than that. And
I mean, to be fair with you, and I realize that the business reality of things would probably not make this possible, but still, one can dream, right? It would be great if ESP and Jackson could finally sort this out and allow the Edwards guitars in that shape and form to be sold here. After all, both companies, they both build phenomenal guitars. I love both companies the same, to be honest with you. Great guitars from both sides. So just let us guitar players have access to all those wonderful tools, those pieces of art that you guys are creating.
Yeah, just to clarify, since you mentioned it, it's because Edwards are meant for the Japanese market.
Correct.
They're not actually meant for the United States market, but importing them into the US is not illegal. There's no problem. Sure, you might pay taxes, you might pay duties and fees. Yeah, absolutely. But it would be really nice to have this like directed and available and maybe even cheaper for the American market.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, at the end of the day, both companies want to cater their customers.
Right.
So I don't think anyone benefits from fighting each other in this case,
I agree.
Both companies make great guitars. Sure, some of them are competing with each other, but make them all available. Let players have fun. I mean, I know I want all the Jackson guitars. I want all the ESP and all the Edwards guitars, Right. Nothing will stop me from wanting all of them.
Sure, I agree. So I guess with that, we could move on to the next one. What would you say?
Absolutely, because we got still more.
Let's go.
Of course, I will start by saying the same thing I keep saying through the entire video. Here we have another iconic guitar. We have Pinky, which is officially, I believe, known as the Pink Sawtooth.
Yes, Pinky
Which
Sawtooth.
makes sense, right? Because it is a Sawtooth, essentially, but pink.
Yeah.
But besides that, what else is different? Actually, there is one feature in that guitar besides the pink that it sets it apart from any other guitar we covered so far, and I think from any guitar we'll cover from here on.
All right. Well, my guess on that feature, I guess it would be the black hardware.
There you go. That's the one. Man, so this guy's good.
It's quite clear. I really like the black hardware on it.
Because think about it. Everything we've sewn so far, right, was either chrome or gold.
Yes.
So now we have one that features black hardware.
And I love it because it makes the guitar a little more stealthy. It gives that stealthy look, I guess it is the only one with the black hardware entirely, right? And
actually, no. The Blacky also has black hardware.
Oh, Blacky, yeah.
And I believe Whitey also has black hardware.
Yeah. Then I wouldn't know because I guess.
But it's the only one that has a black body, a pinstripe, and black hardware. And black hardware and a black body it gives, like you said, that stealth look.
I love it. It looks
Which looks kind of, I don't know, it kind of looks modern to it at the same time, One thing I have to say about the Pinky, besides the obvious fact that it has pink pinstripes and pink inlays, it looks very 80s/synthwave,
Sure.
Gives me very 80s vibes.
I mean, the whole colors, we did everything pink,
True. And ironically,
that's also to blame. So.
People advised Alexi, they advised against going with the production of this one. And yet, ironically enough, as per the man himself, this was one of his best-selling guitars.
It was one of the most popular, yeah.
Which, that shows that pink can be metal. And in this case, it definitely is.
Yeah, it sold very well. It's definitely a popular one. I guess you're right. Like at this point, we have the scalloped frets once again. And the rest is the same package. It's the same bridge, the same pickup, the same MM04 booster.
The same. The inlays are a little bit different, not just because they're pink. It's easy to think that they might be glow in the dark, right? Because they kind of have that vibe, but they're not.
No,
I'm
they're
not
not.
Sure if the ESP custom shop actually features glow in the dark. I don't think it does.
No, for Pinky, the ESP custom shop package of the Pinky is the same. They're just Pinky inlays. I wonder if there's like differences in maybe the tonality of the color. They might be a little difference. I feel like those differences, I mean, those are...
In the Edwards case, or at least in this specific Edwards case, I don't know if the camera will pick it up. Probably not, but the inlays are slightly different pink than the pinstripes. Actually, I would say that the pinstripes look a little bit more magenta or purple, I guess.
Yeah.
Whereas the inlays are a little bit more bright pink. Now, my personal taste would be probably go with perloids here, or at least make them match the pinstripe. But it still looks really cool.
Maybe if they were pink perloids, that'd be nice too. If they could done that, that would be nice. But I really like it. Sure, they look more neon pink on the inlays, and they look more a little more muted on the pinstripes. That's true. I wonder if like the custom shop version will have the same discrepancy. But that's all fair, That's all like
we're definitely nitpicking at this point.
And it's all reasonable. But yeah, it's still the same. The Goto tuners are now in all black, and the Floyd Rose is black. Oh, thank you. Yeah, let me. There we go.
Yeah, everything is black at this point, which looks pretty modern, pretty sleek.
Still features the deep cut, nickel frets, 3-piece maple neck. It has the white binding on the side. Still a white binding on the side with black dots and battery cavity. Battery compartment, yes.
But once again, we have the COBHC.
We have the graphic, so it doesn't have the ergonomic cut, but you do get the COBHC graphic in pink this time. Oh yeah, it definitely looks sick. I mean, I love this guitar so much.
It's also one of those guitars that you see Alexi often performing with live,
Right, it was definitely on the lineup for live playing. Yeah, man, it's amazing on the Edwards package. Must be even better on the custom shop, but the differences are very slim at this point from the Edwards to the custom shop. Killer guitar, sounds amazing. Alexi played it very often as well, so I love it.
I get the impression that the guitars we see Alexi using the most throughout his career are the Arrowhead, the Sawtooth, the Scythe, and Pinky. I mean, don't get me wrong, obviously we see him use all the others too, but I feel like those four I just mentioned are repeatedly often. Actually, as a matter of fact, I just remember, I guess, an interesting fact about the Scythe. It was the very last guitar we saw him play at the Paint the Sky with Blood.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
For
Bodom after midnight, yeah.
Unfortunately, we all know what happened right after this video, but that was the last guitar he played, actually.
I believe there was a time, I feel like Alexi went through phases. For sure, there was a time Greeny was getting a lot of playtime. It was one of his favorites for a while. He probably went through phases like, oh, now I want to play this live. Yeah. And for sure, like some of them, like they always kept showing like Arrowhead, like Sawtooth.
Yeah, the Arrowhead has definitely been, especially when it comes to live performances. It's consistent, right? It's always...
In his defense, Alexi played many different tunings.
Yes.
And when you play that many different tunings and you play drop tunings and stuff, and these are all locked tunings, right, with the Floyd Rose. So it's definitely more interesting to have multiple guitars tuned differently.
More efficient, I would say,
Yeah, you just swap out and like...
Especially in a live performance, I mean, sure, he could have the same color, get like in different tunings, but... It's also more practical to have different color guitars for different tunings,
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, that's definitely one of the nicer ones, and I mean they're all the nicer ones. They're all the favorite ones. If you don't mind.
Oh, why would I?
Let's just finish it like this, and there we go.
Yeah, very sick guitar. I would say it's very unique in the color scheme compared to what you find usually in this genre, Yeah, like Just like every other Alexi guitar, it just rips.
Yeah, and I like how the Edwards is also in pink.
Yeah.
Like the letters are in pink for this
True,
case too.
you're actually correct because Arrowhead and Katakana
Just
didn't have
white.
yellow Edwards.
There's just white Edwards.
That's very
This one
good
actually
observation,
features
actually.
Edwards in pink. That's yeah. And yeah, man, like I said, once again, the stealthy look of the black hardware is just really cool. You know, even the screws are all black, as you can see here.
Yeah.
It really hides all of that and it makes like a more muted look, but it just looks fast and it looks hot and fast. It's a cool guitar.
Oh yeah.
I love it just as much as all the others.
Oh, so speaking of the others, let's move on to the others then.
Let's do it.
Now that's one guitar that we also don't have.
But we could.
Huh?
We could.
We could. Maybe we
Get it
should.
one day. Maybe we should.
Who knows? Man, there is always, a follow-up video we could have at some point.
Yeah.
But Blacky, what are your thoughts on Blacky, Lucas?
I like that gunmetal
It looks sick.
kind of dark gray at it, but like, it's just something about the texture on it. It's really cool.
I feel like it's a muscle car gunmetal kind of
really
color.
cool.
You know what I mean?
It's a cool guitar,
Like
man.
it's the kind of color you would expect, I don't know, in a muscle car, I would think.
Yeah, it does look like that.
We do know that Alex did like muscle cars.
He did. So yeah, it features the black pinstripes, and it's the same package. This being the Edwards is the same package as the Edwards. This guitar I think is also available in the ESP custom shop, and the custom shop package will be the custom shop package. So it'll have the different pickup and the better Floyd Rose.
Recessed hardware, I mean.
Yeah, will be most likely recessed, and but the frets should be nickel. And inlays are this. What is that inlay?
I think it's pearl or pearloid in this case, since it's an Edwards, but definitely a pearloid, but a darker pearloid.
Silverish, yeah, Sawtooth inlays for sure.
And in this picture, there actually easy to distinguish, but in other pictures I have seen, you sometimes it blends so much with the ebony fretboard that you cannot see them that clearly.
Yeah.
Also, the binding around the neck is not white. It's also that same pearloid material,
Oh,
which kind of makes it interesting and different from all the other guitars. Once again, we have matching headstock, which is not a very common
Matching headstock.
occurrence. The black hardware, as you mentioned.
if you flip this guitar to the back, does it have the cutout or it has the COBHC in the back?
That's a good question. I will have to double check, but I believe it has the COBHC.
So it probably doesn't have the ergonomic
It
cutout.
doesn't have a cutout.
Yeah. I know that Alexi did have this in the ESP custom shop package for sure. And that this is the one guitar that he had it refretted. And I think it was done by Real Congas Guitars in Finland. And they just refretted into stainless steels. So it did have stainless steel frets, and he probably liked it with stainless steel. You don't often see Alexi playing this. He didn't play it very much. I mean, of course he had it. He played it. He had it like even on live shows. He had it on the lineup.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as common. It's maybe it's not that it wasn't as common, but it's probably tougher to find YouTube videos of him playing it. Maybe
The only
like
version I've seen him play it was on a tour bus. He had it there, and he loves practicing on it. But
on live is kind of tougher to spot live, but I've seen that he had it like ready to go on live performances, maybe as a
I
backup.
might also have seen it on one of the promotional EMG videos, where, fun enough, he played with an angle behind him instead of a Marshall.
Okay.
But I think it was a Blacky. I'm not sure though.
But yeah, it's a cool guitar. It's just as iconic as all the others.
I
And,
mean, the man himself was iconic, so his guitars have to be iconic too. There's no doubt.
and yeah, man, I really like this guitar too. It'd be nice. Maybe in the future we'll get one of these and we'll do a follow-up video. But it's definitely a cool guitar. It's kind of like a dark version of the Scythe.
I agree. And I have a suspicion that it looks better in person. Like the color is probably way more impressive in person than it is on a picture. Because I suspect that metallic paint kind of, when you turn it around, the way the light drops on it probably makes it shine more. I've seen a
You might be right.
version of that being on sale on the Reverb. Extremely expensive, by the way. And ironically enough, it looked almost silver.
Right.
Like, obviously, it has to do also with the setting of the cellar.
Lighting,
you know?
yeah.
But it did look silver under those conditions. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, we also have the bias of not having the guitar here. Like, we're just looking at a picture and the information we collected. But yeah, man, it's a cool guitar. I'm pretty sure it would sound just as crushed as all the others.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt. And we have still more guitars. Right. Always more. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it again because I'm sure everybody got tired of saying it.
Just say it.
All right, here we have another iconic guitar, and it is iconic. I mean, how can you not see that Skull and Bones logo there? You know, the graphic, and not think to yourself, "Oh my, that's a metal guitar." You know.
Yeah.
But that's not all there is. That's different. What else? Like, there is a lot of cool stuff happening with that guitar.
Oh, this is the infamous Greeny in the Edwards package. And this one has the Sawtooth inlays all the way to the 12th fret. And again, from the 20th to the 24th.
Before you go to the scallop frets, what's special about those inlays?
Oh.
And this is in the Edwards too, right?
These are glow-in-the-dark inlays. So yeah, if we shine, I don't know if I could do this and if I could show this on
we'll
camera.
do it like in a separate, probably that's not going to work, yeah.
Yeah, probably the camera wouldn't pick it up anyway.
But, we'll definitely have footage, Probably we have it playing right now as we describe all that.
Well, since you mentioned it, the fun thing about this is that the LTD package of this guitar, the same guitar in the LTD version, the only difference is that, sure, it wouldn't have the booster.
And the longer horn.
It would have the longer horn, but the LTD actually has green pearloids. So it's a little different in the LTD package. I wouldn't know if this even exists in the E2 package.
No,
I don't think I've ever seen it in an E2 package. I wouldn't be able to say, but for sure, the LTD package of it has green pearloid inlays. The Edwards has the glow in the dark inlays, and so does the ESP custom shop version. It will have the glow in the dark inlays for Greeny.
Since you brought it up, the only guitars that I'm aware of ever being produced in an E2 version were the purple. I mean, the Hexed, the Ripped, and the Wild Scythe.
Wild Scythe for sure, yeah.
Like, I haven't seen any other guitar.
For Alexi, I mean, they have plenty of other
yes,
E2 guitars, but in the Alexi line for sure.
I mean, this video is all about Alexi guitars. Although we do have a couple of surprises, but yeah. So yes, exactly. For the Alexi guitars, only the Wild Scythe, the Ripped, and the Hexed.
Right. Well, and this one also features the Edwards logo in green.
True.
Just like the Pinky. And it is still the same guitars, the same package, same pickup, same bridge. This time it's all silver hardware, gold toe tuners. They're not locking tuners. And yeah, it does feature the booster and the shorter wing in the Edwards package, just like we want them. And if you excuse me.
Actually, I have a question that just popped up on my head.
Sure.
How did they go about choosing what color? Let me help you. What color of hardware they will use for its guitar? For example, Pinky got black hardware, right? I can totally see the logic and the reasoning behind Katakana and Arrowhead having gold, right?
Since sure, because they're yellow, yeah.
But for example, why does Greeny have chrome? Not that I have a problem with it. I mean, it looks killer, but have you ever wondered what it would look like with black hardware?
I am wondering now that you mentioned it, but I have no clue why they would choose that. I feel like chrome hardware is a little more traditional, and I don't know why they would choose it for this. I just like it, and yeah, in the ESP custom shop will definitely be a chrome hardware as well.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't know.
I think what I would do is if I had this guitar in ESP custom shop version and an Edwards version, I would probably kind of like give some different vibe to the Edwards by swapping the hardware.
Make it black.
Installing black hardware just to see what it looks like.
It'll probably look mean as hell.
And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe that's an idea for the future videos. Maybe we can play around with hardware, We know how to set them up. We know how to install them, reinstall them if needed. So maybe we'll do something in the future. If you guys would like to see that at some point in the future, probably kind of distant future, because we're still having fun playing with them as they are. Let us know, because that might be something cool,
Get green hardware on it.
That's a very good point. And what's your favorite aftermarket bridge?
Oh, it'll be the FU tones.
There you go. So, and they got all the sick colors there. So.
Yeah, FU tones could definitely pimp this guitar up for sure, even further. I do like the chrome hardware on it though, so it's kind of hard to like move away from that.
It's like only if you have a second version of that guitar, you would dare, desecrating it with,
Well, you're not really desecrating at that point. You're pimping it up. I'm pretty sure Alexi would like that.
Probably.
But yeah, going back to the guitar, if we look over here, once again, we do not have the ergonomic cut on the body. So we do have the nice COBHC graphic, and it's as mean as it gets. It's the same guitar.
The thing that stands out the most for me, man, it's, Jolly Roger himself,
Yeah.
It's like...
That is so cool.
It's such a nice, in-your-face, get it? Statement, you know what I mean? It's, I don't know, I have seen other guitars, like, of course, also from ESP, like Kirk Hammett's, right? The Skull and Bones inlays.
Right.
Also very cool, very classic and iconic.
The Ouija board guitar and all
exactly.
that Kirk Hammett stuff, yeah.
But that's the only guitar I can remember having Skull and Bones on the body of the guitar, not just inlays or anything else, but on the body, and especially right there, right above the pickup.
Yeah, not having a neck pickup really creates like a nice gap for the skull. And this is a badass skull. It has like a fangs.
I was about to say that, like the molars, they're a little bit extra long.
Yeah,
or is it my impression? Maybe it's slowly, turning into vampiric.
Yeah. I would not be able to say if this shade of green would be different on the ESP Custom Shop package. Maybe it could be like a darker green.
Based on some pictures I've seen on listings on Reverb, I don't know, man. The Edwards is
on point.
Spot on. It's like,
yeah.
Like I literally one day, there was this one seller from Japan. They had both the ESP Custom Shop of Greeny and the Edwards.
Right.
So they had the same setting, the same lighting, more or less, I guess. Same background, same everything.
You couldn't spot any differences?
And I literally copy-pasted the pictures, overlaid them in Photoshop. They were the same guitar.
Wow, good to know.
To me, that speaks volumes of how good Edwards guitars are.
But even if it was differently, why do I care about like this kind of discrepancies?
Yeah, but some people are extreme fans, which makes sense to me, and they're nitpicky, and rightly so. After all, you are paying for a product, right?
That's true. You're paying extra if you're going custom shop too. So,
but the promise is that you are getting an Alexi look-alike guitar. So. Right. It makes sense to me that the Edwards would be just as close to the real thing as possible. Yeah. And I feel like it is. I feel like it is.
I love this guitar very much. The chrome hardware is still looking pristine on it.
Oh, yeah.
It does feature the booster, shorter wing, nickel frets, amazing frets.
Hey, I just realized another thing.
Yeah.
The booster, the switch, is actually black. It's not chrome.
Ah.
And as we'll see in other guitars that have chrome hardware, the switch is chrome. So that's interesting. I just wonder how they come up with those. Probably it's random, I guess, at some points, but still, it's very interesting to just notice those things. And of course, the screws on the on the pickup are also matching.
Yeah, the chrome as well. Yeah. And this also was one of the guitars you can see Alexi Laiho playing this all the time, like in live performances and whatnot. He definitely played a lot of his Greeny. That's definitely one of his favorites, at least. Maybe not his favorite throughout the whole career, but for doing like a good chunk of time, he was playing that nonstop.
As soon as you see that guitar, that's the name that pops up in your head. Even if you're not the biggest Children of Bodom fan, I have friends who are obviously metalheads, but not necessarily like super fanatic about Children of Bodom, and as soon as they see that guitar, or as soon as you mention Alexi, they're like, oh yeah, it's that V guitar with the skull, right? And you're like,
Greeny.
Exactly. Like, you won't hear them say, oh yeah, he's a guy with the Scythe guitars or the Blacky,
Yeah, it is.
Usually that's the one that people are not exactly closely following the band.
They can identify with. It's easily identifiable. And that's Greeny. Other guitar players out there, they play their Greenies, but to me, that's Greeny.
The Greeny.
That's the Greeny right here. It doesn't get much better than
this. We're not worthy.
Yes.
So, and, probably you guys think that's about it, or maybe you don't, because probably we did spoil it in the beginning of this video, what there is. But in any case, there's still more. There's always more. So yeah, let's move on to the next one.
Let's do it.
Here's another guitar we don't have. That's definitely one of the really cool ones, though, I have to say. I mean, you know, it speaks volumes for itself, right?
It's iconic.
It's like, well, there is
quite iconic.
There is pictures painted on it, so it literally is iconic.
Yes.
We have a lot of things going here that we don't have in the other guitars. So what's the most obvious to you, besides obviously, you know, the amazing graphics from, I Worship Chaos?
So they kept the Scythe inlays, but this time they are red. And the pickups, the cover and the frame for the pickups, they're all red. And it has gold hardware. It has the booster.
Red pinstripes.
Red pinstripes.
Red
and it has,
logo, red binding around the neck.
yeah, and this one is the ESP custom shop package. So it has the artwork for the I Worship Chaos album cover. When did that come out again? 2006?
No,
I believe it was
later, wasn't it? Wasn't the one right before Hexed?
2016?
I think so.
2016. You're
was
probably
the one
right. Yeah,
before
yeah,
Hexed.
that was a little later. So the problem
Freiberg was already he had joined Children of
yeah.
Bodom.
So yeah, 2016. I want to say it was 2016. This one is this the one that has Morgan?
Yes.
So yeah,
yes.
that's 2016 for sure. And so the problem with this guitar is that specific artwork, the ESP, I guess they were not really paying the artist who commissioned the album artwork. So they needed permission in order to put that same artwork on the guitar and sell it as a product. And this became a bit of a conflict. And I believe that's the reason why this guitar is discontinued, is a conflict between the artist not letting them use that artwork because he's not getting compensated for it. He feels like it's being unfair to him. And there's a few more things to it as well, because
before we move to that, since we're mentioning the artwork,
yes,
I do know that there is a difference between the ESP version of
that's
the
where I was
guitar
going.
and
Yes,
the E2.
yes.
Like,
so the E2 package, it would be like a decal.
Correct.
Not exactly like a sticker, but like a decal,
Yeah.
you know, like so. But they wouldn't actually like paint it. And the ESP custom shop package,
paintbrush.
that was actually painted. They would have like ESP has more than capable artists.
Yeah, I
that do
believe
painted
the
work.
paintbrush.
Yeah, even LTDs have like painted artwork that ESP just puts out on a regular. So they have more than capable in-house artists that can pull that sort of artwork. But that artwork is not original; it belongs to the artist who commissioned the work for Bodom. And
this is some cool artwork. I mean,
yeah, it just
personally, I feel like that's the nicest cover art for a Bodom album.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you know, the other ones are memorable and everything, but, you know, especially the older ones are a little bit on the cheesy side in a good way. You know,
I believe there are videos when they were talking to the artist and how they wanted the Reaper, but they wanted the landscape to be completely like post-apocalyptic.
I mean,
like
to
it
be
is.
honest with you, to me, that looks like a concept art for a game.
Yeah,
That's
you could
how
say
cool
so.
I perceive that artwork to be.
Yeah.
Like, I'm already imagining, you know, the game developer side of me is already imagining, you know, a level with everything going on in there and characters and whatnot. But I don't know. Yeah. From one point, I feel like this guitar is too loud, if you know what I mean.
It is.
And
It kinda
classy,
is.
but it kind of suits, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it has the red binding from the neck all the way to the headstock.
Yeah.
I believe that if you do turn this guitar around, you will have the COBHC in red on the back.
I think
I cannot
you're right.
confirm that, but I believe I have seen the back of this guitar
Yeah,
before.
I think to remember the same
Yeah,
thing.
and this guitar, yeah, this is pretty much the same format, right? Like they had the same format as we have for Ripped and Hexed. We have the custom shop model, and then there's the E2 model of it.
Correct, but no LTD.
Yeah, no LTD,
Edwards.
no Edwards.
Unfortunately.
And that would have been the format if this was not discontinued. You know, sadly, this was completely discontinued. And you can still see some of them for sale around, but they go for
Oh, yeah.
quite a lot of buck. Yeah, we'll set you back for it.
I had favored one on Reverb for an E2, and the price I could never justify.
They don't move them as fast because they want so much money for it. And that's quite a lot of money. But I think it's a really cool guitar. I'm not sure if Alexi was as fond of it.
I've seen him play in, in the behind the scenes of I Worship Chaos. I've seen Daniel play it as well.
Right.
I have seen it being part of the lineup on the tour, when they have behind the scenes on the tour, with the guitar tech talking about the guitars. I have seen it on the stack of guitars they have with them, but I haven't seen any video where they actually played it live in front of an audience. Maybe they have at some point. I mean, I would imagine if you're carrying it around, probably you do at some point pick it up, but who knows?
I think this was one of the first ones that they had like a fully painted artwork for an album cover. Because if you go back all the way to the beginning, it was mostly pictures and, edited
Which were,
pictures.
as I said earlier, it was a little bit cheesy, but in a good way,
Yeah, it's cool. I like
some
them.
guy wearing robes.
Yeah. And the blood drawn cover is really cool.
Yes.
And they had like the model just with the...
Wow, that was extremely cool, true. And I actually like Hail of Blood. I kind of like
the white one.
The cover art there.
I love the Hexed because that one's like a very traditional form of painting, very classic kind of form, which I don't think they had done before in that style for the others.
True, it does look completely different from anything.
Yeah, because it looks like oil and oil paint on canvas. That's what it looks like, and I think that's how actually they commissioned. They just found like an artist and they wanted to do it in a more classic style, but. Yeah, man, they're just really cool. Sadly, it's discontinued. It would have been nice to have it. Maybe one day in the future.
Who knows? Yeah. Who knows, right? Things happen.
Yeah.
I do know that if I had that guitar, probably I would not want to play it as much because to me it's something I would want to look at mostly, you know? Like I would probably frame it exactly as we have it here.
Oh, I've seen one for sale that actually had the signature. It was autographed by Alexi himself.
I know which one you mean.
And I know which one.
But
it was the autograph is like right in the front, like
yes, and it was a Need To version. And
how can you play ridiculous. That? How can you play that though?
And it was a US version, longer horn.
Oh,
even that guitar was not immune to that. Like this one here, obviously, is a shorter version. And by the way, another way you can know if it's a US version or a Japanese version, besides the horn, because sometimes it's not so obvious.
Right.
If you notice that the booster switch is close to the corner, very close to the corner of the pinstripe, then you have the Japanese version, this shorter horn. If it's a little bit further away, so let's say kind of closer to the bridge, not significant closer, but not right on the corner like we see here, then you have the US version. So that's one way to also identify it in case you're shopping around and you're like, hey, I want the Japanese version, or maybe you want the US version. I mean, at the end of the day, you might prefer the longer horn. In any case, that's another way, a telltale sign for you to know and differentiate the two.
Yeah, I mean, if I had that signed by him, I probably would never play it. I wouldn't want to wear the signature out with my arm, with my sweat and my, you know what I'm saying? I would probably just have that hanging behind a glass.
However, I would, traditionally, I would say I would let them sign the backplate. I would let the artist sign the backplate. But in this case, since there is no backplate, or there shouldn't be anyway, well, there's still there's still the electronics compartment. There you have the cover for that.
The stat plate, yeah.
It does fit a signature there.
Yeah.
That's where I would have it.
Absolutely the same. So you wouldn't render the guitar completely unplayable.
Exactly.
Not that I would play it. I would be extra careful, but once in a while you could play it without ruining the signature. It'd be tough to preserve.
And still, I couldn't justify the price. I know the guitar you're talking about.
It's too much.
I think it's still there, actually.
Yeah, it's good. How are you gonna move it with that kind of pricing? I know it's rare. I know it's discontinued, but that's a little ridiculous. But
yes, and I mean, if you own that guitar, I don't know what the situation is. You might have to sell it, but in case you don't just keep it. It's a good thing to have. If you can keep it, hold on to it.
Or send it to us.
Or send it. Definitely. We'll treat it right, we promise. So let's move on.
Sure.
This is the first ESP custom shop we have here to share with you guys. And this is the Hexed. I mean, it still keeps up with the tradition, right? Sawtooth inlays, scalloped frets, pinstripes. one bridge pickup, the booster, of course. But there are still differences and updates, I would say, to whatever we were used to up to this point. So what would you say those updates are?
Obviously, the graphic on the headstock.
Yeah.
Not really an upgrade, but you do have the signature. It does read.
And the matching headstock too, actually.
Yeah, matching
Like
headstock.
you can see, well, you know, in the close-up, you can see the purple. I don't even know what color it is. It's like a fade purple, whatever, you know. It's definitely there. Matches the body.
Well, the pickup is a little different, isn't it?
It's the HZ. It's just that in the older versions of the custom subs, the pickup, the EMG logo didn't just feature the EMG, but also feature the letters HZ next to the pickup. So this is still an HZ pickup, but for whatever reason, the EMG doesn't mention, doesn't feature the HZ letters next to the EMG logo.
What about the bridge?
The bridge is the original Floyd.
There we go.
I mean, it does feel a little bit more sturdy, more stable, I guess. It does stay in tune a little bit better than the 1000. But honestly, those are, like minor
slight
differences.
Yeah. Tell me about the frets on this. They're a little different too, right?
So the frets are pearloids. They're pearl, mother of pearl frets.
The fret wire.
The fret wire are different. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was thinking inlays. The frets are different. So from the Hexed on, we have Jaskar frets.
Yeah.
Which are more durable. I don't know
a little
how
closer to stainless steel, right?
Yeah, I don't know how they compare with stainless steel, to be honest. I would imagine that probably the stainless steel are a little bit more durable. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the difference of the materials, but I do know that
it's an upgrade from nickel.
It's an upgrade, and Jaskar is more durable than the plain nickel frets they use up to this point. Another new thing we have is the lumen lay side dots, right?
Oh yeah, you have that.
So they glow in the dark now.
Yeah.
Scalloped frets are still there.
Yeah. Well, the booster switch is once again chrome.
It's actually matches the rest of the hardware. The other thing that's new, if we go back.
Oh, here's a fun fact. This one does not feature the ergonomic cut, but it doesn't feature the COBHC graphic either.
And that's the first one too. I don't think I've seen that in any other previous model.
And while we're at it, I can actually spot it from my eyes. Like the cavities are actually recessed.
Yes.
You can see it from here, So, definitely recessed on the battery and on the input jack as well, right?
Yes, the input jack, the battery, and the other thing that's new from the Hexed on is, of course, locking tuners.
Actually quite visible as well.
I mean, to be honest, since you have a locking nut in the front, do you really need locking tuners? I don't know, but it's a good feature to have,
Sure, yeah.
There's still Goto, of course.
Yeah.
The other thing is, since it's an ESP custom sub, we didn't have to set anything up here. That's how they actually come, with the springs, the Alexi position, let's say. The joint here, the neck joint, is a little bit deeper and feels extremely
You cannot tell
smooth.
when the neck ends and when the body starts. It's
if you close your eyes and you just go over it, you won't know.
Yeah, we can tell they put a little more attention to detail. They definitely take their time, like manufacturing these. They are.
I mean, if we are to nitpick here, and I guess in that case we should, because it's an ESP custom sub. The one thing that's very hard to notice, but you do notice at certain angles, if you're actively looking for things to nitpick,
Right.
Is that the body between an ESP custom sub and an Edwards, under certain angles of light being set on them, there are some imperfections, I guess, on the Edwards bodies.
On the joints, right?
You can see the joints exactly from the wings being glued to the main body.
Right.
Whereas with the custom sub, I don't know if it's one piece or not, but
Yeah.
even if it's not, you cannot see it.
It might just be one piece because it's so seamless and so smooth. It might be. Who knows? We don't know that much on the manufacturing process. But also, like the pinstripes, they actually fade. I don't think I ever noticed that. So they're actually wider at the edges, and over here on the top, they fade into a
Sort
a
of
gray,
soft white,
sort of gray, yeah. And it's
I
just
guess
an
they do
amazing
it to
guitar.
match the, because the purple also fades from deep purple.
True.
Get it?
Yeah.
To lighter purple.
Yeah. It's a beautiful color, isn't it? It's just an amazing guitar.
Yeah, like I feel like that was Alexi's vision of what he envisions as a modern guitar. So probably that explains, the locking tuners, the luminlay side notes, the Jazzcar frets. But other than that, it still maintains the same DNA as all the other previous models.
It's the same as the other guitars, but with a few upgrades. Oh yeah, it looks amazing.
And I don't know if the camera picks up, but yeah, you can see that the input jack is recessed.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, there's no doubt about it that, ESP custom subs are phenomenal, since we actually are lucky enough to be able to play with one. But again, to me, it speaks volumes of how good the Edwards guitars are.
Yeah. Yeah, I had the pleasure of seeing Bodom live in 2019, and I saw Alexi playing this. And then they were just so fresh back then. In 2019, they had just come out with these models, and they are still making them in both the custom shop. Oh, I don't think we have those in Edwards. That's the one thing to point out, right?
True.
There's no Edwards in
There's
purples.
not. There is E2, there is an LTD.
Yeah, you're right.
Of course, the LTD once again, longer horn, no booster,
I guess the E2 would be the affordable version with the shorter horn.
but still pretty expensive, to be fair, compared to an Edwards.
Yeah. But yeah, they don't really do hexed and ripped in Edwards package. Would be nice if they did too.
Absolutely.
Could be nice.
Absolutely.
But
And
yeah.
the other thing is the US versions, once again, including the custom sub.
Yep.
Back here, besides, of course, the longer horn, they come with a backplate.
They do. They have the back.
I'm not sure why that is the case. I cannot explain. I don't know if it's some kind of requirement. I have no idea. But they come with a backplate. And to me, that doesn't do it justice because...
It's not what Alexi used.
Exactly.
So he liked it open because you set the guitar all the
So,
time.
I understand for some people it might be insignificant, but at least to me, I would, especially at that price point, I would want this to be as close to the real thing as possible.
Being a live musician, Alexi used to like swapping strings quite frequently. So having an open plate makes more sense when you're...
It is more practical.
Yeah.
And we witnessed this ourselves because with all the music we actually wrote for this video, we used so many different tunings, different guitars.
Yes.
And even for playing for fun with each other, right? We sometimes swap the tunings and we decided that, hey, this feels a little bit tight. Let's loosen up the springs. Let's loosen up the claw, So, and we even played around a bit with the spring positions just, to test if there is any merit to the position, to the setup that Alexi used. And there is. So my point is all that stuff would be a lot worse to deal with if we had a backplate and we had to unscrew, 6, 8 screws, I think.
It doesn't matter. It's just more work.
It's too much hassle, yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, it does look cooler too. I don't know.
No, it's just a killer guitar, man. It's really cool that you have this in a custom shop for us. And Crush Guitar, it's custom shop. It's what Alexi would have played live. And just a Crush guitar sounds as big as all the others as well. And it plays just the same. But this being the custom shop, obviously, more attention to details. The frets are a little better.
Well,
a little smoother, they're a little more...
I don't know. I feel like the Edwards frets are very, very well done. So honestly,
hard to spot a difference, right?
I think sometimes, it's more of a, I guess like a psychological side effect because you're like, oh, this is a custom. So, there is some bias. You can't deny that.
That's true. That's true.
But there are also some visible differences. Like I can see that the body here is flawless. Like it's literally flawless. Instead of perloid, they use mother of pearl, so you can see, the...
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you can see that the inlays look a little bit more 3D, I guess. There's more depth into
more
the texture.
Reflections too, yeah.
More reflective as well.
Yeah.
But honestly, this is just nitpicking at this point. Like, once again, if you just want a guitar that is as close as possible to what Alexi was playing, and you don't want or you cannot afford an ESP custom sub, Edwards will do the job just fine.
Oh, 100%.
I would be willing to bet that if someone gave Alexi on stage an Edwards, properly set up, of course, right? I don't think he would immediately spot the difference.
Yeah, that's a good
I
point.
might be wrong, you know, but I feel like he would not spot the difference.
You might be right. But yeah, amazing guitar. It sounds just as crushed as all the others. And it's really cool. You know, I did get to see him playing this model live. And yeah, it's really cool to look at this guitar, man. That's a nice one.
And yet we have more nice ones coming up.
There's still more. Well, they're all our favorites.
That's true. I mean, so far, I can't pick one favorite yet.
I guess the next one might be the favorite.
You think?
It's always the next one.
Until you go back to the beginning and you're like, oh, wait, I think I like this one. Or, oh, no, wait, I think the next one. Oh, you know what? Screw it. I like all of them.
We'll never settle this. We'll never settle this. We're just going to have to go to the next one.
Actually, now that you brought this up, maybe you guys can help us settle this. What's your favorite one? You know, like, just let us know from all the guitars we feature in this video.
You can pick one.
Well, okay, let's give 3 because it's tough.
Okay.
But even one. Some of you might have one that's favorite. By all means, just let us know your thoughts. What's your favorite? What's your least favorite, maybe? If you had experience with any of those guitars, including LTDs, E2s, everything, you know, share it with us. We're definitely interested in knowing more. We're not here claiming that we know everything there is.
We're not the final word on this. It's
Absolutely not. I mean, I probably imagine we made some mistakes probably along the way. Sure. And by all means, anyone with credible information out there, feel free to chime in. We will be more than happy to see what you have to say. But maybe you can help us tell which one is the best. Although I don't think there is one.
Maybe they're all the best.
So let's move to the next one then, because the next one is a bit special compared to everything we've seen as far as the design goes.
Oh, well, let's do it.
All right, so as we were mentioning before, you know, there are some good online sellers, right? And of course, Musamalma is a great place to get an ESP custom shop. However, also make sure you guys check out Zon's guitar store from the Netherlands. Zon, I know you will watch this, so man, you're the best. You know, it's when you import, especially in the States, I don't know about other countries, but when you import a guitar, sometimes the process can be a little bit tedious, stressful, you know, because sometimes it takes a while for things to get here because they have to go through customs processes. And of course, you need the right paperwork and stuff. And as a buyer, it can definitely be daunting. It can be overwhelming. So you need someone that's experienced and knowledgeable. And you expect the seller to be able to deal with that stuff. And in Zon's case, he's definitely the man. So, and also he put some extra goodies in, you know, in his guitars. So no matter what kind of guitar you buy, you're also in for a treat. But I'm not going to spoil it. If you want to know more, just check out Zon's guitar store. And speaking of that,
what do we have here?
You know, I mean, Zon's guitar store has some killer guitars, and one of those killer guitars is also the ESP Custom Shop Ripped.
The iconic.
The iconic. Well, I mean, to be fair, I don't know if this poor guitar is the iconic levels. I wish Alexi was still around to probably blow our minds once more with this guitar, especially since this guitar has a first thing for Alexi, you know, a neck pickup.
Yes, yes.
So I'm sure he had something in his mind. I bet there was nothing random about choosing that. And unfortunately, we didn't get to see what he could have done with it.
Well, my suspicion is that this was another Musamalma improvement after whatever Alexi suggested. Or maybe Musamalma just put that there and, hey, Alexi, how about this? And maybe he liked it. I don't know. It's hard to confirm this kind of stuff. But it was most likely his desire to start playing more with the neck pickup. And yeah, it's... do you know which pickup this is?
I believe it's the EMG S2.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I know it's one that they specially came up with for Alexi.
Oh, okay.
I think. And again, I'm sure the man had something in his mind. I don't think there was anything random about that.
You're right.
I'm sure it wasn't an experiment. Obviously, for it to make it a production signature model, it has to be something specific, a specific vision he had.
Right.
And unfortunately, we'll never get to know what that was.
Rumor has it, not confirmed, but rumor has it that Alexi really liked this guitar and he was playing this. He was enjoying this. He was having fun with this. But sadly, we did not have enough time to see him come up with anything using the neck pickup. But again, it is still an Alexi guitar. It being a custom shop, it does have the recessed pickup switch, the pickup selector.
It
feels good, man. Yeah, it feels...
Like even the sound of it is...
So does he have a middle position?
Actually, that's a good question.
Yeah, I think it does. Yeah.
It does. So imagine what kind of crazy stuff you probably would have come up with.
Well, so this is probably a neck, shared,
and
then bridge pickup. Once again, we have the booster,
which I believe applies to both pickups.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So they're both passive pickups.
I believe
and
they
the
are,
booster
yes.
is the active
again,
booster.
The body compartment is for the booster, not for the pickups.
Sadly, there wasn't enough time. And this one, the pinstripes, they're just... Well, the whole guitar is just like more of a matte finish, right? The last one was...
first one, yeah.
It's a matte finish.
It's a matte finish.
All the others are glossy and reflective. This one is matte. It's very muted.
The pinstripes are ripped.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool, you know. It's definitely modern and metal, you know. And the other thing that's different is for the first time, I think, like whatever color you have in the front does not match the side and the back because it's just black.
Oh, so the back is full. Yeah, you're right.
For the rest, you still have the body compartment, as we said, you know, same pickup, same spring position, no back plate again. Everything is exactly.
And they've done away with the ergonomic cut.
Actually,
it's just like
and no COBHC either.
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing. It's
just
pure black. Godo tuners, lock and Godo tuners. Jazzcar frets again, just like the Hexed.
Lumen lays on the side.
Lumen lays on the side.
Side dots.
I feel like it feels slightly different in the hand. Like, I don't know if it's lighter or heavier. It's kind of funny. Like, how do you feel compared to the rest? It does have a different feel.
Maybe it's just weighted a little different. I don't know. It feels the same weight. At first, I thought it was lighter, but I guess
I kind of feel like it's lighter too, as if it's chambered body, but I don't think it's a chambered body, you know. But
maybe it's the neck pickup. They removed a little more wood out of there.
Actually, I don't know. Maybe that made the difference.
Yeah, because the rest is really the same. It's the same.
But it does feel a little bit different, right? Like
it does.
When you pick up all the other Alexi guitars, they feel exactly the same. That feels slightly different as far as the weight distribution and whatnot. But I don't know. Maybe it's just my imagination. Yeah.
You said it yourself. We have the bias.
Yeah, definitely.
And especially when it comes like to custom shop. But also like the custom shop on the headstock, it's fully white. It also features the signature. The other one is actually like a grayish with like...
It's like a metallic decal, you know?
Exactly,
This is technically painted, I imagine.
Yeah.
It looks sick.
But it's the same kind of Sawtooth inlays.
Oh, of
24
course.
frets, scallops from the 20th and onwards, just card,
it
fret
definitely
wire.
maintains the, the Alexi design and DNA for sure.
It looks killer, man.
Again, I wish, it's one of those guitars that kind of make me a little bit sad because we didn't get to see him play enough with it,
Yes.
Because, I don't know, at least in my mind, I think he would have done some pull and mind-blowing tricks with the new setup he has here.
Right.
And I never get to witness it. And it's the same, it's one of those things that it would be good stuff. And
just makes you wonder because, there wasn't enough time, sadly, but still a crushed guitar. And it looks so nice under this light,
At the same time, though, you know what it does? It gives me a little bit of a hope that this guitar, especially since it was the last one he designed with ESP, and since it's so different in a way from all his previous guitars, that it will inspire a new generation of players, that some new players will pick this up and go like, hey, I like Children of Bodom. Alexi was a huge influence for me. Let me see what I can do with the tools she left behind for us. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. To me, it's still relevant. I hope they stay in production for as long as possible, as long as they can.
I mean, to me, it's like, how could you stop, for example, an EVH guitar, right? Eddie was such an influential player for everyone.
Good point.
You can't just stop producing his guitars.
Right.
Same with so many other players that unfortunately are no longer with us. So I believe Alex is definitely up there in that pantheon of guitar players. His influence is, it's undisputable. You can't dispute that he has influence on all metal guitar players. His personality even was, I guess, having such an impact on people. So I definitely want to believe that this last guitar is one that will inspire, along with everything else he has done, of course, some new generation of super shredders, that will keep shredding alive. Because let's face it, guys, for me at least, that's what guitar is all about, man. You have to be able to have those solos. You have to have those ripping shreds, You can't just have chords and rhythm guitars. Yeah, that stuff is cool. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of skill there too, but you need to be able to shred. And that guitar shreds. That guitar rips.
Yeah.
Evidently. So yeah, at this point, that kind of wraps up the Alexi guitars. But we have one more surprise for you guys.
Well, yeah, we mentioned.
Yeah. I mean, I guess at this point it's not a surprise, but still, we'll go into detail. So let's get on with that. Well, obviously we saw a whole bunch of Alexi guitars, each and every one of them as sick as the other one, right? But we're also lucky enough to have here an ESP guitar that's not an Alexi guitar. And actually, I would say this specific one, or better said, this specific model, has not exactly been a Bodom guitar either. But the previous iteration of that model was a Bodom guitar. Actually, it was the Arrow, the Andromeda 1, which was a guitar that Daniel Freiberg played quite a lot. So at least in my mind, that shape, reverse headstock and the ESP Arrow shape, the body with the cut down there and everything, it kind of brings me Bodom images in my mind. Now in this case, what we have is the Andromeda 2, which is pretty much what's special with the Andromedas is that they have this color which is hard to describe.
A nebula burst finish, whatever.
I don't even remember what the official name is. I think it's Andromeda.
Yeah, Andromeda.
I know that the first one that Freiberg was playing was mostly black with hues of blue, I guess.
Yeah, like around here, I guess it would have like the...
Yeah, like depending on the angle the light would, be cast on the guitar, you would have hues of blue mostly, but it was mainly black.
That's true.
Now, in this case, I feel that this is mainly blue, but with hues of purple and brown and sometimes even green.
It looks brown to me right now.
True, from this angle. Yet, as we can see in what plays in the back, it looks blue.
Yeah, that's true.
And then in other angles, it's actually, I have seen it look kind of like marine or green or
purple even.
Purple even. So, of course, now again, this guitar to me is a testament and speaks volumes of, ESP's craftsmanship and quality. Now let's actually look into detail and see what does it have in common with Alexi's guitars. What would you say are some things that you believe are close?
Well, we do have the same ESP logo on the headstock. This time it is reversed. So we have a reversed headstock.
Instead of Sawtooth, we have, I guess, a sail.
They look like sails, but I guess we could call them arrow. They're like arrows. We could call the other one arrowheads, and these are just arrows.
After all, this is the arrow, so might as well.
And I don't think we have on the first fret. Do we have inlays on the first fret? I think we start on the third. So this one has on the first fret.
We do have.
We do have. Well, okay.
Yeah. No, we do have.
Okay, yeah.
However, we don't have on the 24th
fret. That's what I'm missing, yeah.
Alexis guitars, they actually have on the 24th fret.
Yeah, why don't we have it on the 24th on this one? I guess why. I guess I know why. They would have to cut it so thin.
Probably.
They had to stretch it so much. It would probably be complicated to do it on the 24th fret. It's already quite stretched on the 22nd fret.
Yeah, that's true. So probably would defeat the purpose. Too much hassle for what the benefit is.
Probably not really worthwhile. But We do have the neck pickup this time. Which pickups are these?
Those are the James Hetfield pickups.
On both of them.
On both of them, which are, I believe, they're both passive and active, and that's why in the back we have, no booster this time. I know we got so used to it, but we have a battery cavity. Compartment,
just as recessed as the ESP custom shops.
But this time it's for the pickups.
Yeah, this time there's no booster on it too.
And of course, since this is not an Alexi guitar, the backplate is there.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I think about it, this part is recessed. The electronics compartment cover is recessed.
The backplate isn't.
Backplate isn't.
Yeah.
So maybe we should remove the backplate, and then set it up like Alexi would. Other than that, no lumen lace, even though it's a newer guitar. But then again, is it a must-have feature? I don't think so. I don't know. I think that shape, I know this is kind of steering away from the whole Children of Bodom thing. But again, we have seen Children of Bodom play that shape, right? Actually, in a couple of videos, I believe even Alexa was picking up Daniel's guitar, in the behind-the-scenes videos and playing around with it, and she seemed to have a lot of fun with it. I know we did.
Yes.
It's an excellent guitar to play. I guess one of the other main differences with Alexa's guitars is thinner neck.
Oh,
this
yes.
is a classic ESP. It's not Ibanez thin. It's ESP thin. It's like your standard ESP neck.
But like Alexi Laiho guitars do have a bit of a thicker neck profile.
Correct.
It's an inheritance, I guess, from the Jackson days. So we always preferred them a little chunkier. But I do have a question for you. What are these fret wire? What is this?
I believe they're the regular nickel, high quality nickel that is.
So no stainless steel?
No stainless steel.
Okay.
No. And as
So
far
nickel,
as
not
I'm
even-
concerned, it's not even Jaskar.
Not even Jaskar, so.
I might be wrong, but I am pretty sure I'm not.
And what is this bridge here?
That's a Floyd Rose original.
Original
Again,
as well.
yeah.
So, yeah, it definitely plays. They're all different. They all have their own mojo, but
Yeah.
they definitely play just like an Alexi Laiho guitar.
I feel like that guitar, for some reason, to me, brings a lot of thrash in my mind. Which is a little bit different from the style that Children of Bodom had. Obviously, you can play Children of Bodom songs with that or that style. We did. But for some reason, when I look at that guitar and when I pick it up, I feel like you have to play some fast thrash with that.
Of course. This guitar, they also have the LTD Arrow, if I'm not mistaken. It also comes in the LTD package.
And it's also very good quality.
It's very good. Then if it is an LTD 1000, it will have the stainless steel, I guess, the later 1000
correct.
models.
Actually, the one ESP just presented in their 50th anniversary presentation, actually the Candy Apple Red, I believe, also with a reverse headstock, same shape, just different color, actually has stainless steel frets.
But I think, does that come with EMGs or Fishman?
I
think it might
believe
be
it's a
Fishman
Fishman.
pickups on those. I prefer EMGs, but
I'm the same way. However, for anyone that wants to swap them, the good thing with both Fishman and EMGs, they're very easy to swap.
yeah,
No soldering, it's,
yeah, they have the pins, so you can just pop them out of the slot. But Fishmans are good with digital. We mentioned this.
Yes,
They sound really good on
I feel
digital
like they
amplification.
sign through with plugins, with quad cortex, Stolen X.
But if we're using like a Marshall tube amp, for sure, EMGs right
is a
side.
better way. Yeah. Now that guitar, the arrows, the ESP arrows also come in E2 forms. I actually played. A friend of mine had an E2, the one that's kind of like silver black. It plays phenomenal.
I believe you.
They're very good guitars. Sure, the horns are longer, so
Has to be more careful.
you have to be more careful what you bump into, but it does look killer, and it feels great. I believe I've seen Whitey actually play an arrow.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't know if it was ESP, if it was an LTD, if it was an E2. Because how Whitey solos are, there's a lot of stuff going on stage, so it's hard to see the little logo here. But I know it was a reverse headstock arrow, and it looks sick. So yeah, you could play some black metal too with this.
Yeah, I really like the way the volume pot works on it. It's just
Very smooth, right?
it's just different. And
pickup selector.
The pickup selector too. Yeah, this guitar just has it like.
How would you compare that pickup selector with the Rips pickup selector?
I think they're just as good. There's like it's very hard to spot like a difference.
I feel like the Rift is snappier, you know, like when you
it gives you a little more resistance. So when you push
it sounds more clicky,
Yeah.
you know, like
that's true. This is a little.
this very soft click.
Yeah.
Almost was snappy click.
But it's still here. You can still like get a tactile response from it. So if you're like swapping this when you're playing live or something like that, is you can still feel it. But it's just nice. It's like not every guitar has it like this nice.
Yeah, sure.
You can tell this is the real deal.
Although to be fair, you know, if you have an LTD, you could source the parts and swap them. But it's still the craftsmanship
It's nitpicky because
and the craftsmanship is top notch. Like
the LTDs are good, man. It's like even if you have one, I'm pretty sure the LTD against this, they're fine. But if you have the ESP, of course, they spend more time. They do.
I believe ESP's luthiers, they're insane in a good way. You know, they're geniuses. Like,
it's a nice guitar, man. I really like this guitar. And you're right. It's a thinner neck. It plays fast as hell.
The other thing I would like to mention is that the head-filled pickups, they are hotter than your regular EMG active pickups, like the 81s and the 85s. So I feel they're less hot than the Alexi pickups, especially, if you have the boost activated.
Right.
But they're hotter. I believe they're a little bit hotter than your typical EMGs, but, they sound good. They sound good. There is clarity. There is a punch to them, definitely.
It's cool how they have the poles on them, and it's kind of reversed too. Like the neck has the poles on the top, and the bridge has the poles on the bottom.
And it's kind of funny because I felt at the beginning when I saw the Alexi pickups and the head-filled pickups, I was like, wait a second. They both have they're both featuring a cover over the pickup and they both have poles, right? So I thought they're both like passive active type of thing, but obviously Alexi's pickup is a passive. And it's not an active pickup,
Yeah.
So it's again, we're nitpicking here, but
and it doesn't have the poles. It's fully covered on the Alexi guitars. Does it have the poles on them?
It does.
Oh,
and it's actually the screws. You can see the cavity. Like, well, obviously you can't see it from here. We have several guitars here, but you can definitely see the pins.
Right. I preferred covered pickups.
Yeah, I feel like it's
I just
easier
prefer
to maintain too. They look cooler too.
Yeah,
but
I feel like they don't grab up as much, grime and dirt.
Although
over
to
time.
be fair, since we're talking pickups now, I mean, some DiMarzios and Seymour Duncans, even though they're not covered, they sound sick.
They do.
Although now that we mentioned that, since we're trying to stay on topic here, which is Alexi Laiho and Children of Bodom, Alexi did play with some Seymour Duncans, correct? He did.
You're right. You're right. But Seymour Duncan
blackouts.
blackouts, and in fact, there's a lot of hearsay in the community that people didn't like the Seymour Duncans because they would have been a little too hot. And then combining that Seymour Duncan blackout with the MM04 booster didn't sound good. But then other people on the internet will say, "Oh, that sounded amazing. It was better with the Seymour Duncan." And the Pinky models, especially Pinky, they were coming out with Seymour Duncans. Nowadays, the Pinkies are just EMGs. So I don't know. Maybe they read some online comments and they're like, "Oh, I guess people don't like Seymour Duncans."
But to our experience, we didn't try an Alexi guitar with blackouts, but we did try an RV guitar with a blackout pickup, and it sounded good.
Yeah, Duncan is good. Yeah, I like all these the hot pickups.
Yeah.
Even the Fishman can be good if you're using the right stuff. Fishman can sound amazing as well. I have some guitars with Fishman as well. They're all there, they all have their thing. It's EMG, DiMarzio, Seymour Duncans, Fishman, and many others, of course.
Yeah, of course. There's Lundgren.
Lundgren, yeah.
Especially for talking 8 strings. Yeah, some of you out there know what I'm talking about. So, of course, besides Freiberg playing that amazing guitar, well, similar to that, and also phenomenal guitar player, which, by the way, I think with Bodom After Midnight, he had finally his own signature ESP guitar, which is closer to the Alexi standards. Like, it's not a reverse headstock, it's a V, the traditional V, I believe, with a shorter horn, but it did have a neck pickup as well. Anyway, in any case, amazing guitar player. Our sincerest best wishes to Daniel. It must have been hard, after all the plans probably they had in mind for the future.
Right.
But also, you know, so many other guitar players, you know, Rupe had an amazing ESP guitar. He had that star-shaped ESP guitar that he was playing. I wish we had one of those here. He also played with Jackson guitars for a while. He was with Bodom since the Jackson days. He had both a V and a star-shaped Jackson, I believe. Also great guitars. And by the way, I remember seeing Rupe having a video before the time he joined Children of Bodom with a Jackson. And guess what setup the Springs had?
The same as what Alexi has.
The same as what Alexi had. So I don't know if Alexi picked it up from Rupe. I have a suspicion he might.
That could have been the case, yeah.
But in any case, it just speaks that volumes to how these super well accomplished players saw things eye to eye, I guess, as far as guitar playing goes. But of course, also Alexander Kuopala had some phenomenal guitar, which I believe that's probably your ultimate dream guitar.
Yeah,
maybe.
that would be that it has like it's an ESP with a strat shape, and it's all black,
like a power strutter. Like is it like similar to the M2 shape or the Horizon? What do you say?
It's a little more aggressive, I guess. Can't remember from the top of my head, but it definitely has a single EMG pickup, and it has the Reaper on the graphic. Holding the Scythe, and it has only 3 inlays. Like this is COB. No, actually, it's not like just these. It's like whatever, you know, it's spread throughout the guitar. I think from the top of my head is hard, but I believe that guitar is behind the glass. It might be at the bottom bar. It might be. I could be wrong, but yeah, I think I saw a picture of Alexander pointing at the guitar behind the glass. So it'd be nice if ESP made that in an Edwards version.
No, I think I have the name for that guitar, man. We should rename it to the Wildest Scythe.
That's a cool guitar, man. I like it.
It's a big Scythe.
And there's only one video. Maybe it's like a 2003 show of Bodom, and he's playing it. You don't easily spot it. They were probably doing the whole tour with that. And yeah, it doesn't. And he also played like the camo style, right? The green camo pattern on it. ESP as well. Really cool guitars. I like the camo pattern on it. I don't care how cheesy it looks.
I believe those shapes, both of them are the body of the M2, but instead of a reverse headstock, they have like the straight headstock.
You might be right. Yes, I know. I'm not sure.
Because that's a very popular ESP shape. You know,
maybe the Reaper one might have a reverse headstock, but.
But the body has to be the M2, since you mentioned, you know.
But that graphic is amazing, and also like not having the neck pickup leaves a little more space for this kind of artwork. So yeah, I'd like to have that guitar one day. Well, I guess this would be a custom order for ESP at this point.
It would be nice if some of those guitars made back in production, man. I mean, you know, it's not only a nice tribute to the people that actually played them, but it's also nice for the rest of us, you know, who actually like playing guitars
and collecting Bodom
stuff. But even if you're not a Bodom fan, you might enjoy the guitar anyway, you know. So
yeah.
Now let's take a quick look at the guitar signal chain. I believe Alexi had his MMO4 booster on the guitar activated at all times, and from there he drove it straight into a Marshall JVM 410H. Then the JVM was hooked on a 4x12 Marshall 1960 BV cabinet. This is a 4x12 cabinet featuring Celestion G12 vintage speakers. I believe that Alexi's signal chain on the effects loop was pretty straightforward and simple, featuring just a Kirk Hammett wah pedal, a Boss chorus, and a Boss digital delay. I have also noticed that Children of Bodom often used an Audix i5 microphone to capture the guitar cabs. However, I do suspect that in the production of their albums, it was up to the recording engineer's discretion to choose the microphones and the equipment that they preferred. In our case, we kept the MM04 booster activated at all times on the guitars. We drove it straight into a JVM 410H, which was also hooked on a Marshall 1960 BV cabinet. This is a straight Marshall cabinet, once again a 4x12 featuring Celestion G12 vintage speakers. We kept our effects signal chain as close to Alexi's as possible by using also Kirk Hammett wah pedal, a Boss chorus, and a Boss digital delay. However, in the songs we shared with you today, we did not use the wah, and we very sparingly used the chorus and the delay. To capture the guitars, we placed our favorite combination of microphones in front of the cab, which is the Sennheiser E906 and the Sennheiser MD421. We believe that these two microphones combined faithfully capture and reproduce very accurately what the human ear perceives in a room with a cabinet. However, for this video, we also used for the first time a Lewitt DTP640 Rex, which is both a dynamic and a condenser microphone. Normally, the Lewitt DTP640 Rex is used to capture the sound of kick drums. However, after having watched one of Glenn Fricker's videos in which he recommends using this microphone for capturing guitar cabs, I gave it a try and I was very happy with the results. So Glenn, if you happen to come across this video, thank you for posting all the great content. I know I have picked up a lot of tips and tricks from your videos, so please keep bringing it on. I would also like to mention that Glenn fully credits John Brown, the guitarist from Monuments, with coming up with the idea of using this microphone for capturing guitar cabs. So John, if you also happen to come across this video, thank you for coming up with such a brilliant idea. Once we found the sweet spot with the microphone placement in front of the cabs, we were very happy with the results we got from the combination of the two Sennheisers and the Lewitt microphones. As far as the amp settings go, I'm not exactly sure what Alexi would use. I know there's a lot of rumors and speculation online. However, in our case, we played it by ear and we just kept going back and forth between our own tracks and some of the latest Children of Bodom albums like Halo of Blood, I Worship Chaos, and Hexed to compare the guitar sounds. Ultimately, the settings that we found worked the best for our purposes and intent were a diminished bass and middle frequencies, a slightly increased treble, and a slightly increased gain. We kept the resonance and presence somewhere in the middle, and we found like those gave us the best results. When it came to rhythm guitars, we mostly double tracked them, and when it came to lead guitars, we just did a single simple track. More or less, that wraps up the guitar signal chain.
So you're probably wondering who is playing the bass on all those songs. And I'm here to introduce you to Drew, a good friend of ours.
What's up, man?
Good to have you, man.
Thanks.
So would like to ask you, what did you think of all of this?
Oh, it was fun, dude. It was a great experience.
It's a little crazy, I guess.
Yeah.
So for the first song, Back to Claim What's Mine, you were playing the LTD bass, right?
The LTD B5E, the 5-string LTD bass.
That's the natural finish.
The rosewood, yeah.
How many strings was that?
That's 5-string.
All right. And then for the second song, What were you playing?
The second song, that was the Fender jazz bass, my Ultra jazz bass.
Oh, that one, yeah. You got that recently, right?
About a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what led you to that bass specifically?
Well, I saw that bass. I saw the color on that, and when Fender released their Ultra line of jazz basses, and they actually released a P bass version of that too. But yeah, I saw that they had that at Guitar Center. I played it and I thought it was awesome, but they didn't have the color I wanted it in, so I had to wait like 6 months to get that on order. Yeah. But yeah, I just saw that Fender released that and I had to play it, and I thought it was a sick bass.
And why do you like that bass so much?
Probably the versatility of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got this function there where it's got the for the pan pot for the pickup selector, so you don't have to just switch fully to one or the other. You could kind of blend them in however you want it, and I thought that was cool. So you get like a lot of versatility with how it sounds, and also you could control like the lows and the highs of it too. You could cut, boost it if you want to. Yeah,
what is your preference for that?
So, for my preference, as far as like the pan pot,
yeah, like do you use more the bridge, the neck pickup? What do you do with it?
Yeah, I do. So I go more of the neck pickup with that. I kind of boost it more of the neck, to get some of that burpy sound that you get from a jazz bass. But I kind of back it off just a little bit, so it's not fully burpy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So how's the neck on that bass?
The neck is awesome on that. You get the D profile on that, so it's just it feels almost like it's a guitar neck. It feels so thin and smooth on there.
Right.
Yeah, they did a sick job on that neck.
Cool. And the last song was the blue bass, right? The blue Fender you have?
Yeah.
Which one is that?
That's the Fender P bass, the American P bass. Yeah, it's a 5-stringer.
Do you like that one as well? How does that compare to the?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, just, you can compare it just mainly it's the P bass versus a jazz bass. So at the P bass, I mean, it's technically not as versatile as a jazz bass, but I think it's the most versatile bass there is, the P bass, just from that one tone knob, just to give it more high or less. You just can dial in any tone you want from that P bass, especially being a 5 bass. Skies are the limits with that.
So that's a 5-string, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, that's what I remember. That's right. So yeah, and I got here. I guess this was the pick you're using, right?
Yeah. So it's just a Dunlop. What was this? Prime tone pick. So I had to go through a lot of different picks to figure out which pick was the best for me.
It's usually like that.
Yeah, I started off with like a 1mm pick, and now this is a 3mm pick.
All right.
So I've spent so much money going through picks just to try to get like the perfect pick for me. But I've been playing this one for a while, and I really like this.
What is that? That a Dunlop pick?
Dunlop, yeah, prime tone. Yeah.
Cool. So, few more questions here. How'd you like the Gallon Kruger?
That's a sick amp. Yeah. Just like the way it sounds really aggressive in general, but I was really surprised the way that handled my P bass.
Really?
Yeah, because it just handles mids good in general, the P bass, but coming out of that amp just really accentuated that a lot.
So you prefer with the P bass over the jazz?
Well,
bass?
it's not that I prefer it. I just like the way it really sounded. It had a really cool sound to it with the P bass. It's a really versatile amp, surprisingly.
Cool, man. Cool.
Yeah.
So what was the biggest challenge in all of this?
Just learning the songs, for the video and everything. Trying to keep up with that, yeah.
The barrage of notes.
Mm-hmm. Nonstop.
Well, yeah, so this is a little bit of Drew. You might be seeing him a little more in the channel. He might be playing the triangle or singing vocals or
trombone. I told you to do that.
Yeah, trombone but yeah, don't be surprised if you see Drew more often. But yeah, it's an honor. It's great to have you, man. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah,
and yeah, thank you.
At this point, I would like to thank Drew as well for being part of this project. And since he's a really good friend, it was very fun for us to have him aboard. And of course, keep in mind that we do involve Drew in more projects that we will be more than happy to share with you in the future. Now back to analyzing the bass guitar signal. Let's first take a look at what Children of Bodom would use. Henka had his own ESP signature bass guitar, which I believe was also for a limited time part of the LTD production line. If I remember correctly, it was the ESP LTD HTB 600. However, unfortunately at this point in time, it is very hard to find any used ones, and ESP doesn't seem to produce those anymore. Henka also used to play with an ESP Viper. He drove his basses straight into an Ampeg SVT4 Pro amp head, which I assume he would connect then to an Ampeg cabinet. In some occasions we have seen that Henka had on his pedal board some dark glass pedals, I believe microtubes, and dark glass Alpha Omega. But overall he seems to have kept his signal chain pretty straightforward and simple. In order to emulate more or less the Children of Bodom bass guitar signal chain, we used an ESP LTD B5V bass, as well as Drew's favorites, a Fender Jazz and a Fender P bass. We then drove the bass guitar straight into a Gallien-Kruger Fusion 800 amp head, which was then hooked on a Gallien-Kruger Neo 4 4x10 cabinet. To capture the sound produced by the bass, we used two microphones, specifically the Sennheiser MD421 and the Lewitt DTP 640 Rex. Both seemed to work well together and allowed us to capture the low frequencies of the bass in a very clear yet powerful way. And that pretty much sums up the bass signal chain that we used for this project. There are rumors and reports that Janne would use in the earlier days a Roland AX1 as well as a Korg N264. However, the keyboard we see him use the most, especially on stage, is the Korg X5D. We have also seen Janne use some more advanced signal chain for the keyboard, especially when recording in a studio. We have seen him use effects and sound libraries in the form of a rack, as well as some pedals for amplifying or coloring with some effects his signal chain. In our case, what we used was mainly a Korg Kronos, a Roland AX or AX Edge, and the Roland Cloud library. Other than that, we used a lot of synth pads, atmospheric synth pads for the rhythm sections. We used a lot of strings also for the rhythm sections of the keyboards. However, we did use a lot of bells and lead synths or saws for the lead parts of the synthesizers or the keyboards. And more or less this covers the signal chain that we used for the keyboards for this project.
Just leave me be, let my misery get the hell now away from me.
Regarding the vocals, we kept it very simple and straightforward. Pretty much what we did is record ourselves using an SM7B, and then of course we applied some post-processing effects, specifically delays, reverbs, maybe some chorus or some modulation. And other than that, for the choruses of each and every song, we double-tracked the vocals. In some occasions we even quad-tracked them, just to make them sound a lot fuller. Other than that, we kept it very simple, and of course when it comes to the lyrics, we tried to stick as close as possible to the Children of Bodom style of writing the lyrics, with explicit, in-your-face type of lyrics. And I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty fun to experiment with, and yeah, that pretty much covers the vocals. We wish we had a guy like Jaska beating the drums for us, but at this point we do not. So we had to go with the next best thing possible, which is none other than Toontrack's Superior Drummer 3. More specifically, we utilized the expansion, which is Death and Darkness. And of course we used some of our own MIDI libraries that we had, as well as some original MIDI mappings that we came up with for each song's needs and requirements. That pretty much covers the whole production of the drums for our project so far. long as it might have been, we hope that you found this video equally entertaining and informative. When we started this project, the original intention was to write just a couple of songs in the style of Children of Bodom as a tribute to the band and to Alexi. However, in the process, we had a lot of fun doing this. And of course, inspiration kicked in and creativity definitely overtook us. So we kept going and creating more and more songs, to the point that now we are 6 or 7 months away from releasing a full album with songs in the same style. We even have a cover art and a name for the album. As a matter of fact, we call it Tropical Deathstorm. And if you would like to support the effort, both for the creation of Tropical Deathstorm as well as for other ongoing and future projects, and of course for the content creation of this channel, feel free to visit our Patreon links and see if there is some way that you feel comfortable with contributing to this effort and showing us your support. Of course, it's not mandatory, and by all means, we're more than happy and excited to share this project with you, our music, and of course any other future projects, endeavors, and music that we come up with. We will be more than happy to interact with you guys in the comment section, and of course we're looking forward to bringing you a lot more content in the near future. Thank you for watching, and see you around.